Hello and welcome back to my channel, Deku Fanfic. Today, we're kicking off the fourth part of our series, What If Harem Deku Watches the Multiverse. The author of this story is GiovanniPolder from fanfiction.net. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Oh well, some people believe that because of the way she wears her hero suit with makeup, they like to assume things about her. One of those assumptions is that she is not respectable. This is often fueled by false claims some guys make to seem cooler, like bragging about their encounters. Truth mentioned this while Izuku was contemplating whether others shared the same beliefs in their universe. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air, and a thug slammed a hand against her face, pushing her into the wall. "Boss, can we have some fun with her now? I want to see how tough she is," one thug said from the back. "Shut up," another thug replied, tying her hands before she could react. "Yeah, shut up," Bakugo interjected, surprising everyone as he slammed the thug to the ground. "Let's go, Izuku," Mina urged Setsuna. "We don't know if it's Izuku yet," she added. "Come on, we're watching a universe about him. Every time he comes to save the day, who else would it be?" Setsuna questioned. Truth remarked that he never claimed Midoriya would be the main focus, but it often turned out that way. A new figure appeared, wearing combat pants and boots, with a knife holster on his leg and two gun holsters on his hips. He donned a specially made body armor and a brown jacket, with a red helmet obscuring his face except for his white eyes. As he landed, one of his guns was pointed at the thug's head, and the sound of impact echoed through the room. "Who is that?" Kamakiri asked. "I bet that's Midoriya," he added. "I'll take that bet, there's no way Izuku would run around with guns." "That's not his style," Sato replied, with some of the guys and even a few girls joining in on the banter. Suddenly, two shots rang out, and the thug fell lifelessly to the ground. The man in the red mask shifted his aim to another thug, shooting him as well. The red mask then noticed a man with 4 arms charging at him and fired 5 shots, all hitting their target. "What? No way, that's Deku," someone exclaimed. "Can I change my bet?" others chimed in, while those on the winning side laughed. "I want to bet that's my son," AFO said, prompting Inko to question how he could think that after witnessing the violence. "Like father, like son," he joked, earning a playful slap from Inko. Miraculously, the last thug was still alive. The red mask approached him and, as Kami screamed in horror, he shot the thug again, ending his life. Kami begged for her own life, closing her eyes and screaming for help. The red mask sheathed his weapons and freed her from her restraints. "Oh, he's going to try and hurt her, and then Izuku will save the day," Mina speculated, imagining a heroic rescue. "Now that she's free, what will happen next?" Melissa asked, concerned. "Hey, you! Stop! You're under arrest," a voice called from a nearby rooftop. It was Eraserhead. The red mask shot a smoke bomb, and when the smoke cleared, he had vanished. "Are you okay, miss?" Aizawa asked as he landed and offered her a cloth to cover herself. Why didn't Sho jump in to fight him? "I've seen him handle worse," Present Mike wondered. "It's funny, Aizawa tried to fight him before but ended up tied up and knocked out." "It was a great fight, though," Truth explained, prompting laughter from Present Mike. "I don't know, can you tell me what happened?" Kami asked, tears streaming down her face. "I was just minding my own business when those guys attacked me. Then the guy in the red mask showed up and took them out." "Who was he, and why didn't he hurt me?" "He's a ruthless vigilante known as Red Hood. We don't know much about him, except that he gives villains second chances." "Did you notice anything about him?" Aizawa inquired. "Oh, if it were Izuku, he would have gone by Green Hood for sure," Kendo joked. "Well, he does wear bright red shoes, so who knows?" Jiro added, making light of the situation. "Hey, Koda wears them too," Izuku chimed in, with Shino explaining that Koda wanted to emulate his hero. Koda blushed at the laughter. Nah, he was silent but had impressive skills. He took them all down quickly, Kami said, as Aizawa shook his head, already aware of how peculiar Red Hood was. Soon after, the police and paramedics arrived on the scene. They checked on Kami while Aizawa made his way out. Nizu explained to the younger generation that it was common for heroes to wait for the police to arrive after a scene was called in. However, Aizawa didn't need to call anyone this time, as police were already on their way due to the gunshots. As Nizu drove, he pondered about Red Hood. They knew very little about him, his identity, quirk, training, or connections were all mysteries. It was frustrating for them to pursue him. They speculated that he must possess a physical quirk that enhanced his strength. One of them remarked that given Red Hood's ability to fight Aizawa, he likely didn't need a quirk, as that would complicate things further. But another pointed out how high he jumped without rolling, suggesting he might indeed have a quirk. These questions were directed at Truth, who remained silent. Meanwhile, Red Hood entered a dilapidated building. Inside, he found a room equipped with a sleeping bag, canned food, bottles of water, plenty of ammunition, and various weapons. He covered the light as he heated his food and settled onto his sleeping bag. Slowly, he removed his mask, revealing his face for the first time. It was Izuku Midoriya. He crossed out something on a piece of paper with a red marker before tossing it aside and grabbing a can of SpaghettiOs to heat up. A nearby newspaper caught his attention, reporting on 3 men convicted of serious crimes who were released on a technicality. The others questioned how he could be sleeping in such a way, speculating that he could be in Aizawa's class without anyone knowing. Their shock grew as they realized that Izuku was Red Hood. They debated whether he was a killer, acknowledging that he was similar to Stain but motivated by a different purpose. He eliminated threats rather than seeking a better future. Stain expressed curiosity about why Izuku lived in such dire conditions. The explanation revealed that Izuku had once been a typical hero fanboy. During an arrest with Sir Night Eye, he had managed to close a gate to prevent a villain's escape, but 2 years later, that villain returned and killed him in revenge. Afterward, a scientist used a method called Lazarus to bring Izuku back to life. Upon learning what had happened, Izuku trained rigorously and even studied under Stain, whose goals aligned with Izuku's in some ways. When asked about his quirk, it was clarified that he didn't have one. He was simply very strong and well-trained, a result of his dedication, especially following his mother Inko's death. As they discussed Izuku's journey, they decided it was time for the voices to vote again. Who is your favorite bat? Is it Rightwing, Batgirl, or perhaps Batman? Please share your thoughts, I'm curious to know. Are you all not scared of the voices? What if they tell him to harm us? Nana asked, her concern evident. What has gotten into you? Izuku replied. It's because of all those horror movies you kept watching, it got stuck in my head, Nana explained. It's not my fault. I was just spending time with my friends, and you all were spying on me, Izuku shot back. You know I should be upset for you talking back to me, Nana said playfully. Ha! You could try, Truth chimed in, laughing. Nana looked at them, exasperated, and walked toward Recovery Girl. What is happening here, she asked. From what I understand, Truth likes to mess with his mind, lowering his shyness and bringing out his confidence. To be honest, it is rather amusing, but I still prefer the shy kid, Recovery Girl said. Why is that? Nana inquired. Oh, I have this story. I believe it was after he broke his finger during Aizawa's test, Recovery Girl continued. Aizawa? Nana asked, surprised. Yes, he came in after breaking his finger. I used my quirk, and he started saying he couldn't get married anymore, that he would have to marry me. He might not be ready to be a husband, but he would try his best. It was one of the funniest moments I've ever had at UA. As she recounted the story, everyone burst into laughter. You told me you would never tell anyone that. Izuku exclaimed, his face turning red as the laughter continued. So I guess we should add one more to the harem, huh? Pixie Bob joked, causing Izuku to curl up in embarrassment. Ochako approached him. Don't worry, Deku, we're just joking. You know that, right? She said, using her quirk to make him weightless and tossing him into a group of girls who hugged him. But I like to make you less shy and more confident. The girls like it more, it's the true you, not the one your childhood friends made you become, one of the girls said. Wait, you like that version of me more than the other? Izuku asked, confused. Don't get us wrong, we love you, all of you. But you act scared around us. Whenever we talk, you look like you're about to do something that could be considered rude, and you apologize. Sometimes you don't even speak the truth because you think it might hurt our feelings, Momo said with a sad smile. We don't mind you being shy, but I don't like seeing you scared of the people you are supposed to trust. You should be able to tell us if you don't like something, Mina added, echoing the shared feelings of the group. Now, before we start discussing who likes what, think about it. We want to know the real you, not the one you hide behind, one of the girls said. I get it, it's just hard for me. I haven't seen another person besides my mom in 10 years. I don't want to scare away the only people who care about me, Izuku admitted. Ochako held his head firmly and made eye contact. Izuku, we love you. If we would get scared away just because of who the real you is, then we wouldn't love you. But what if you don't like me? Izuku asked, his voice trembling. You remember we like you, so how could we not like you? Ochako replied, her honesty reassuring him. More hands joined in, affirming their support. We feel the same. We won't leave because we know the real you. Let's stop the sappy stuff and watch a new universe. It's a gunslinger one, set in an old western. Quirks are still a thing, but they're much rarer, maybe only 5% of the population has them. The rest of the information will come as we watch, Truth announced, snapping his fingers to begin the show. The scene shifted to a young adult on a brown horse, his hat tilted low over his face as he rode into a new town. He approached Kaminari, who was walking around. Excuse me, sir, can you point me to the tavern? The young man asked. Sure thing. Go down this street and turn left, you should spot it easily. Also, I guess you're new in town. Don't go out after sundown, it's bad news, Kaminari warned. With a smile, the man who was Izuku rode off. Looking good, Midoriya. I like that look. Very manly, Tetsu commented, flexing his bicep. I wonder what happens after dark, though. Do monsters show up or something? Zero asked, to which Truth nodded. Yes, you could say they are a group of monsters. Really? Why is that? Another asked. Bandits run through here. If you get caught out, they can be dangerous. They hold many of our women hostage, Kaminari explained. Do they have a bounty on them? Someone asked. Yes, but you don't want to mess with them, they're real trouble, Kaminari warned as Izuku tipped his hat and rode off. Yes. Bounty hunter Izuku. Teach those bandits a lesson. Emi cheered, pumping her fist in the air. Wait, he could be a bandit himself, this could be him taking over their territory, Shota said, but that idea was dismissed when Izuku smiled. He tied his horse at the watering hole and entered the tavern. As he walked in, the room fell silent for a moment. He approached the bar, where Kirishima was waiting. What will it be, partner? Kirishima asked. Do you all do some cooking? Izuku inquired. Yes, sir. Booze, food, sleep, everything you need. Kirishima replied. Can I get a warm meal, a glass of scotch, and some information? Izuku asked. Sure thing. What do you need to know? Kirishima said, flexing his muscles. I heard it's dangerous to be out at night. I was wondering why that is and if there's something that can be done about it, Izuku said. Why yes, there is, Kirishima replied, ready to share more information. There is a group that calls themselves the 8 Bullets. They typically don't bother most of the townsfolk, but there are rumors that they target outsiders, especially women. Kirishima shared this information while pouring a glass of whiskey for Izuku. Emi, eager for action, expressed her hope for a shootout, wanting to see Izuku use his pistols. Truth reassured her that there would be action in the story, much to the delight of the audience. Izuku was waiting for his food and had also received the bounty details for the 8 bullets. There were whispers that the group had more members known as the 2 Pistols and the Gunslinger, but no one had ever seen them. Sir Night Eye mentioned Overhaul's crew with a hint of disdain, while Mirio confidently stated that he believed Izuku would triumph over them. Mei chimed in, acknowledging that while Overhaul was a villain, the name itself was intriguing. Izuku felt content to be in this town, where the issues of exploitation were minimal. He admired Mayor Nizu and Sheriff Snipe, who were known for their efforts to keep the town safe. Snipe's impressive shooting skills were highlighted in a scene, showcasing his quirkless talent. As Izuku prepared for the night, he checked his weapons, crafted by 2 of his partners, who were skilled gunsmiths. He had 2 8-shooters and a remarkable new creation, a gun with 15 bullets that reloaded quickly. Ojiro admired the pistols, while Mei and Melissa beamed with pride over their custom creations. Equipped with his Winchester and plenty of ammunition, Izuku stepped outside, only to be approached by a small girl named Eri. She pleaded with him not to go, fearing for her sister's safety. Izuku reassured her with a smile, promising to talk to the group and help her sister. Inko, watching from a distance, commented on Eri's lovely dress, while Izuku expressed his pride in her. As he prepared to leave, Kirishima encouraged him, acknowledging the bravery of fighting for those in need. Inko voiced her concern for Izuku's safety against such a large group. As he walked through the town, Izuku noticed Nizu watching from his balcony. Nizu warned him about the dangers of confronting the 8 bullets, but Izuku remained determined. He introduced himself boldly, declaring his intention to collect the bounty on the 8 bullets and their leaders. The townspeople watched in anticipation, realizing that Izuku was known as One for All, a legendary gunslinger with a reputation that preceded him. Nizu quickly retreated, understanding the gravity of the situation as Izuku prepared to face the approaching horses and the challenges ahead. A man had faced numerous bandits and evildoers without losing a fight. One for all is his quirk, right? Someone asked. Yes, but in this world, it's more like a motto for a select few skilled individuals, specifically the 9 users of One for All. Many believe they were just myths due to their incredible abilities. For instance, Nana was thought to be a legend, known for her pinpoint accuracy. Izuku noticed that 8 men had their guns drawn on him. He opened his coat, his hand resting on his pistol. Taking a deep breath, he fired 8 shots, hitting all of them in the arm and causing them to fall from their horses. As he approached, he reloaded his weapon and grabbed another. Now, boys, I have no problem emptying my rounds into you, but I need someone to tell me where Overhaul is hiding and where those girls are. Before he could finish, one of the men was shot in the chest, ending his life. Oh, how brutal. He doesn't hold back against bad guys, does he? Tsuyu remarked. He does, but many like Overhaul in your world are just as terrible here. He does this for the greater good, came the response. What do you consider the greater good? Tsuyu asked. There are many things you can't see as good from the greater good. For example, in a world where Bakugo never changed, killing him might seem bad, but in the long run, it saves more lives than it destroys, Truth explained. Wait, why kill me? I know I was a JRK, but really? Bakugo interjected. If you had stayed the same, I would have killed you. You would have stunted Izuku's growth, costing many lives, including some here, Truth replied. Now please, I would prefer if you just told me where to find the gunslinger and the girls. Dead or alive is what it said on your bounty, so tell me where they are, or I will make it hurt even more. We won't betray him, one of the men said defiantly. Izuku then fired 2 rounds into the man's legs. I am running low on patience. One more time, and this time say what I want to hear, he warned, aiming his gun at the head of the closest man. Yeah, pop them in the knees to get them to snitch, Kaminari suggested. Dude, that was dark, another chimed in. But what's with the pop them in the knees? I just thought it sounded cool. Can't have Midoriya be the only badass, Kaminari replied with a laugh. Izuku looked at him, puzzled. I'm not that badass. Sure, can you say that when you have more girls than days in a month? Or after gaining the quirk from All Might? If I searched for badass, I swear I'd find a link to your hero account, Kaminari joked. As they continued to banter, Truth decided to return to searching for a new world, while the others shared a laugh and resumed their conversations. Izuku had been inspired to write late into the night, needing to finish his thoughts before resting. What makes someone badass, though? If we want to define Midoriya, we would need pure facts, Kendo said. Badass is defined as something or someone cool, tough, rebellious, or aggressive, Nizu explained, glancing at Izuku. Yeah, he's not that, no offense, Kaminari remarked. I mean, he is tough as nails. I wouldn't be able to push through breaking both my arms and still keep fighting, Shoji recalled from training camp. What would you define Izuku as? Kirishima asked, while Kami whispered a playful suggestion. Deku-ish, she said, causing giggles among the group. I would say a hero, a person admired for their courage and noble qualities. That fits the bill, right? Nizu continued. Kind of. He saved Bakugo from a slime monster, Siro noted. And me from Shigaraki, Tsuyu added, followed by others recounting their own experiences of being saved by Izuku. Man, now that I think of it, Midoriya has done a lot of hero work already, Aizawa said with a soft chuckle. I kind of feel bad about that now. It feels like slacking, Kaibara admitted. I get you, bro. That just means we have to do as our school motto tells us and go plus ultra, Tetsu responded, earning a nod from Kaibara. Hey, Midoriya, how much did you train in those 10 months? Rin asked. Well, I had a dream plan that All Might made, so I kind of stuck to that, Izuku said. All Might chuckled, no, you didn't, young Midoriya. I indeed created your workout plan, but we both know you went beyond that. I had to readjust your plan to be harder because you wanted to work harder. He recalled the day he made Izuku jog with a weight in his hands. Found one to watch. It might be a weird one, Truth announced, alerting everyone as they shifted their focus to him. In this one, monsters are a thing, zombies, vampires, and more. Many people became heroes, but they didn't fight other people, they fought those monsters. So, it's like, are we hunting monsters? Nope. All monsters are strong, they are more resistant to hits and regenerate at faster speeds, making it hard for them to be truly killed. The sun, however, weakens them, allowing a hero to take down a monster. So with that in mind, let's watch, shall we? Truth snapped his fingers, starting the show again. We see a group of middle school students running away from their school, clearly scared of something. One boy, however, wasn't running, he was just looking in the direction everyone was fleeing from. Nerd, we have to go. Bakugo urged, not scared but not excited either. No, not everyone got out yet, and I am not going without them. Bakugo groaned and walked off. So Bakugo and Izuku are friends, but he just walks off. That's unmanly, Bakubro, Kirishima said, shedding a tear. That's not me, dipshit, Bakugo replied, noticing Kirishima's distress. What are they running from, though? I would say villains, but I want to guess monsters, Hokanuki speculated. If we go by what most monsters would do, I might guess zombies or maybe goblins, Kaminari added. Not even a minute later, Bakugo returned, holding 2 bats. Well, let's get them then. If we get in trouble, we can rely on your quirk, he said, handing 1 bat to Izuku. They both started jogging toward the area, where, after a short run, they saw why everyone had fled, as well as something not as fun. Hell yeah, Bakubro, coming back to help, how manly. Kirishima cheered, but Bakugo could only shake his head at his friend's antics. "Shut up, shitty hair," Aizawa observed, knowing that as middle school students, they should be running away from danger, not toward it. Yet, he understood that his students would throw themselves into harm's way if it meant saving someone. Everyone was running as a horde of zombies managed to breach the wall and enter the city. The troubling part was that a small group of people was trapped in a storage shed, surrounded by zombies, desperately trying to hold the door shut. Without a second thought, Izuku sprinted toward the chaos, prompting Bakugo to groan, "You're lucky I'm dumb enough to hang around your reckless self." "I feel that at one point that statement had to be true, even during your time at UA, Aizawa remarked. "What?" "No, sir, I never wanted to put myself in danger." "I believe you, kid, but can you tell me that if you could have died saving someone else, you wouldn't have thought twice? You can see it in everything you've done, fighting a slime monster without power, battling two villains with zero control of your quirk, breaking yourself to save a friend. And when you first started getting control of your power, what did you do? You went to fight the hero killer." "But sir, it's a hero's job to save people, isn't it?" Izuku countered. "Yes, a hero's job. But he isn't a hero yet. But what kind of hero would I have been if I let those people die while I just stood there?" Izuku asked, leaving everyone speechless. It was a valid question. Like most people, Izuku had been taught from a young age to attack the weak points of zombies. He aimed for their jaws and arms, the real dangers. It was challenging, as most monsters had regeneration and resistance. However, both Izuku and Bakugo were well-trained and fit teens. After the first zombie went down, Izuku noticed one of the zombies had its hand in the shed, and the rest of it was likely to follow soon. "So they get classes on self-defense if they get caught in a bad situation?" Jup asked. "Yep, it's because of the number of monsters. Each one has a different power and skill set, so to help in the future, they teach defenses," Truth explained, and the others nodded in agreement. "We should add more fighting lessons, but without quirks," Nizu suggested to the teachers, mostly to himself to remember. Izuku took a step back and focused on controlling his breathing. With a light yellow glow surrounding him, he moved through the horde. Instead of needing multiple hits to knock them down, now it took only one, and they stayed down for a while. Izuku was using his quirk, Harem, which allowed him to channel energy similar to sunlight to deal more damage. It was particularly effective against undead creatures. "What the hell? Is that like a weird version of OFA?" someone asked. "No, it's his quirk, like he said. It does make him a little stronger against normal people, but nothing crazy. It's just far more effective against monsters." "Would OFA upgrade it, like how my quirk changed from floating mid-air to flying?" Truth shrugged, unsure. With each attack, Izuku took down zombie after zombie, with Bakugo trailing behind to keep Izuku's back clear and ensure they had an exit strategy for when they were able to get everyone out. Just as Izuku approached the shed, the top of the door was ripped off. With one mighty swing, he struck the zombie's head clean off. "Come with us. We are here to save you," Izuku called out, and the teacher in training and 5 students quickly nodded and followed him. "Wait, why can't we see who they are?" Ochiko asked, as the people remained deep in the shadows no matter how they moved. Let's go with weird god magic," Truth suggested, earning deadpan stares from everyone. "Really, Truth?" He nodded and laughed. Izuku was the one leading the group. He was absolutely taking down the zombies. After a fierce battle, Izuku had defeated the last one. Just as the zombie fell to the ground, the number 1 hero, All Might, landed nearby. "Have no fear. Do you want to know why?" "Because I am here." All Might turned his head around, noticing that the zombie threat had already been neutralized. "What happened?" "I responded to a call about zombie infiltration." "Was a hero here before me?" he asked. "A tad bit late, All Might," Ojiro said. "Well, he did race across town, but Izuku and Bakugo were just too good." Kendo wondered how they would get out of this situation, noting that Izuku had used his quirk and rushed into danger. Just don't tell them you used your quirk, idiot, Bakugo thought to himself as Izuku looked at All Might. I did, sir, Izuku replied. You defeated them. How? Not to sound rude, but you don't seem capable of taking down that many zombies on your own, All Might said. That's because I used my quirk, sir, Izuku admitted. Foolish, Bakugo and the others thought simultaneously. It may have been a strict rule, but it was in place to keep everyone safe, no use of quirks. You do know that using a quirk results in punishment, All Might reminded him. I do, sir. Then why didn't you lie? It's not like I would have known anything else. Because lying is bad and unheroic, sir, Izuku said, prompting laughter from those around him. Of course, he would say that, everyone thought, chuckling at Izuku's honesty. It's a good quality for heroes to have, Namuri said, giving Izuku a kiss on the cheek. A little white lie here and there can be acceptable, Izuku. Sometimes, women can get a bit emotional, Tomoko added, to which Izuku nodded. You want to be a hero, huh? All Might asked. Yes, sir. I want to be a hero. I'm applying to the UA Hero course. So why, if you wish to be a hero, do you refuse to lie, considering that using your quirk is against the law? All Might questioned. Because I used my quirk to save others. They were trapped in a shed with monsters close to breaking in. If it means I can save them, then I will gladly accept the consequences, Izuku explained. I have to agree with young Midoriya here, Nizu said. While it's a double-edged sword, the law often forces people to stand by and watch, even in self-defense situations. It's a significant issue. However, his actions, while not condoned, were the right choice. All Might burst out laughing. You know what, kid? I'll let you go this time under one condition, we keep in touch. I wish to train you in the way of a hero, if you're okay with that, of course. The crowd gasped in disbelief. What? Bakugo exclaimed. You used your quirk and still get All Might to train you. That's so unfair. I agree with Bakugo for once. It seems a bit unjust, Zero added. Well, for All Might, it might be the best choice for a successor. His quirk is incredibly effective against monsters, and he has a strong will to save people, Setsuna said, and everyone nodded in agreement. I can't help it. It's not like I begged him to let me go free and train me. I'm just as surprised as you are, Izuku said. Now, is everyone healthy? No scratches or bites? All Might asked. No, sir, we are okay, thanks to Izuku, replied Fuyumi Todoroki, one of the students present. That's good. I still want you all to stay around and get checked out. We don't want anyone getting sick, All Might said, and they all nodded in agreement. As All Might moved the bodies of the zombies, Endeavor arrived and rushed toward Fuyumi. Daughter, are you all right? He asked with concern. I am, Dad. Izuku saved me. He saved all of us. Hey, I helped too. Without me, the green kid would have been in trouble the moment he arrived, Bakugo interjected. Sure, Kaken. It was all because of you, Mina joked, clearly not meaning it. Why didn't we notice ourselves right away, someone wondered. Suspense, have you heard of it? Truth replied, though it wasn't suspenseful at all. Wow, Endeavor is a good dad here. Didn't expect that, Mirio said, laughing along with the others as Mina teased Bakugo. Well, I suppose having your fiancé save you is a good thing for your relationship, Endeavor said with a chuckle. Dad, we're not even dating yet, Fuyumi replied. I know, but he first has to enter UA and turn 18 before he can pursue a relationship with you ladies. But it's nearly set in stone, Endeavor said, giving Izuku a supportive pat on the back. I find kind Endeavor far scarier than scary Endeavor, Mina remarked, noticing Endeavor's friendly demeanor. That might be true for me as well. It's kind of unsettling, Zero added. But that was a strange world. I didn't hate it, but I'm not the biggest fan either, Ochiko said. I wonder when we'll finally see some part 2s. I really want to see more of them, like that one with the shadow monsters, Toru said. Well, let's see what happens, right? I'll go back to searching, and you do what you do, Truth said, already looking for a new world. In a world where heroes and villains coexist, Izuku Midoriya, known as Wildcat, navigates the complexities of his dual life. By day, he embraces his role as a hero, using his powers to protect those in need and uphold justice. His determination and bravery earn him the respect of his peers and the admiration of the public. However, as night falls, Izuku transforms into Jackal, an anti-hero who operates in the shadows. This alter ego allows him to explore the darker aspects of his personality and confront the challenges that come with his unique abilities. The contrast between his two identities creates a constant internal struggle, as he grapples with the moral implications of his actions. Throughout his journey, Izuku encounters various characters who influence his development. He forms deep bonds with his friends, who support him in both his heroic and anti-heroic endeavors. Their interactions reveal the complexities of loyalty, trust, and the blurred lines between right and wrong. As the story unfolds, Izuku faces formidable adversaries and moral dilemmas that test his resolve. Each encounter pushes him to reflect on his choices and the impact they have on those around him. The emotional moments shared with his friends and allies highlight the importance of connection and understanding in a world filled with chaos. In this dynamic narrative, the transitions between Izuku's two lives create a compelling exploration of identity, responsibility, and the quest for balance in a world where the line between hero and villain is often indistinct. Man, I could go for some sequels. I need to know how those went, like that one where he was the Demon King and people didn't know about it. I want to see him at the sports festival like that. That would be amazing to watch, Cammy said, with the others nodding in agreement. I know. I wouldn't mind watching him as a swordsman. He was just about to take down Shiggy, I was looking forward to that, Toga added. Ladies, I think you're forgetting the main one here, the one where Izuku was the only male. I want to see a sequel, Pixie Bob said, prompting Shino to respond, only because you didn't see him with you. Pixie Bob acknowledged that was a fair point. But what about a universe that's a bit different, like him with AFO's power but as a hero? Just think of the awesome things he could do. He would take the quirks of the worst villains and fight evil with unlimited power, Kaminari suggested. Not gonna lie, I want to see unkillable Deku again. That was amazing to watch. Just think of the coolness, Zero chimed in. Nah, I want to see more of that Izuku who made those clones and that blue ball. I want to see more of what he can do. Plus, I like his catchphrase, I am here. Believe it, Fuyumi said. What about Midoriya as that iron robot or him with all those unique powers where Midoriya had a harem? That was pretty cool to see, Ojiro remarked. Perhaps in a world where Midoriya commands shadow soldiers, Tokoyami suggested. I could also go for something new, like Izuku with a split personality. That would be interesting, Shinso added. I found one, Truth said right after Shinso. So, Izuku here tried to get into UA but missed the mark by 2 points. That saddened him, but he didn't give up. He stopped pursuing hero work since his dream felt out of reach. He didn't meet All Might but grew up with a quirk. After UA, Izuku started a gym that has many heroes working out there. It's like one of those real power gyms, nothing super fancy but a great place to work out and relax, Truth explained as he snapped his fingers, and the show began. We see an adult, very muscular Izuku groaning as he sat up from his bed. He wasn't wearing a shirt, revealing his chest. A couple of large bruises were visible on his ribs and back, and his knuckles were red from injury. Izuku stretched his back, and multiple cracks echoed in the room. Oh, wow, he is built, Kirishima said, somewhat shocked by his physique. So in this universe, is he like a boxer or something? You mentioned he had heroes at his gym, right? Truth nodded in response to Setsuna's question. What if this universe involves him training heroes in his gym, someone speculated. Izuku stood up, showcasing his imposing stature, and slowly made his way toward the kitchen to start cooking. His apartment was small, he could see the bed from the kitchen. Besides that, he had a small table, a wooden chair, a dresser with a small box TV on it, and one closet. After making his breakfast, he sat down at the table and ate in silence. Afterward, he got up and went to take a shower, which was small, even more so for someone of his size. That is one tiny apartment, especially for a guy like him. If many heroes go to his gym, why is he living like this? Aways asked. He isn't poor, he just doesn't need all the fancy stuff, Truth clarified. So what does he do with the rest of his money? Someone inquired. He saves it. Just wait a little, and I will explain, Truth replied, and everyone nodded in anticipation. Izuku was now making his way out, wearing jeans and a white t-shirt that fit him snugly, with headphones on and a large gym bag in tow. He walked for about 15 minutes until he reached a larger warehouse with Deku's Gym written on the top. Upon entering, he was greeted right away, first by the lady at the desk, who was Eri. That is his gym. Nice, Aizawa commented. Oh my gosh, look. It's Eri as a teen. Mina exclaimed, pointing at Eri, who had her mouth open in surprise. Izuku is going to have to beat the boys away with a stick, she is so pretty, Emi laughed. Truth, not wanting to deal with it, wiped Mineta's mind the moment he saw her, thinking Eri was too cute and innocent to be objectified. Izuku had helped Eri when he first met her. He had just come from the gym and saw her being chased by Overhaul. He stepped in, telling Overhaul to leave her alone, which quickly escalated into a confrontation. Izuku faced many challenges that day, but thanks to his quirk, he managed to survive. His quirk made him a bit fitter than most and granted him 9 lives that reset every month. In the end, Overhaul couldn't defeat him, and Izuku emerged victorious. Oh, I was wondering how Izuku met Eri. That's cool, Jiro noted. Wait, am I correct in thinking that Izuku's leftover money will be sent to Eri? Yamamo asked. Correct. Izuku has been saving a large part of his money for Eri, and it's in a bank growing each month, Truth explained. But why? Someone wondered. Well, since Izuku isn't Eri's dad or guardian, he isn't the one taking care of her, but he wants to support her dreams. So, Izuku is saving nearly all his money to buy her a farmhouse, completely buying it as well as providing enough for her needs. He plans to set her up for life, Truth said, and everyone reacted with awe at how sweet Izuku was for Eri. Since that day, Izuku and Eri had stuck together. That day was nearly 7 years ago. Eri greeted Izuku, reminding him of his sparring session with Miss Kendo and Mr. Kirishima, and mentioned that Miss Kodai wanted to discuss a new workout and diet plan. Izuku thanked Eri and made his way to his office, where he found Miss Kodai waiting for him. Hello, Miss Kodai, it's nice to see you again, Izuku said as he opened the door and invited her in. I understand you wanted to revisit your workout and diet plans. Yes, I want to slim down a little while increasing my speed, she replied. With enough dedication and persistence, everything is doable, Izuku assured her, retrieving her file. Why does she want to do that? Izuku asked, curious. After Yui bulked up a bit to help her throw larger objects, but she didn't like the way she looked and thought that more speed made more sense, Truth explained, and Izuku nodded in understanding. Izuku's gym was known for helping its members with workouts and diet plans, making it popular among heroes who often struggled to maintain a healthy diet. The scene shifted to a dark alley where Mei Hatsum, CEO of Hatsum Support, found herself surrounded by a group of men. They were making threatening remarks, and Mei felt scared and alone. I am CEO, she wondered, feeling out of place in her role. She wanted to be a lead designer, creating innovative products rather than dealing with intimidating situations. Izuku, sensing her distress, approached her and reassured her, "Mei, you are not ugly or unkind. You are beautiful, smart, and amazing." He hugged her gently, trying to lift her spirits. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted as Izuku confronted the men, his voice firm. "Get away from her, and you can walk away. If not, you won't." The men were taken aback, questioning who he was. Izuku, determined to protect Mei, didn't wait for a response. He swiftly moved in, landing a punch on one of the attackers, followed by a series of precise strikes that showcased his training. His friends cheered him on, excited by the unfolding action. Izuku continued to defend Mei, using his skills to subdue the attackers one by one. He expertly dodged their strikes and countered with powerful moves, demonstrating not just his boxing skills but also his knowledge of various martial arts. As the confrontation escalated, Izuku faced multiple attackers, blocking and countering their aggressive moves. Despite sustaining some injuries, he remained focused on protecting Mei and ensuring her safety. His determination and skill shone through as he fought valiantly, embodying the hero he aspired to be. Izuku managed to grab both of his opponents by the heads and, with all his strength, slammed them together, causing them to drop to the floor. Kirishima remarked on the situation, expressing disbelief at the unmanly nature of using a sword in a fistfight. Tetsu agreed, while Mirio reflected on the pain Izuku must be feeling after being attacked, recalling his own experiences with knives. "I gave you an out, you didn't take it." "That was a mistake," Izuku said, removing the sword from his arm and tossing it aside, blood still seeping from the wound. The needles embedded in his chest were broken off but still posed a threat. One of the attackers, gripping Mei by the neck, sneered at Izuku, questioning his identity. "I am Wildcat," Izuku declared, leaping forward to knee the second attacker in the face. As the man staggered back, Izuku followed up with a punch to his stomach and then a headbutt that broke the man's nose, sending him crashing to the ground. Mitsuki observed the situation, noting that Izuku needed to stop the bleeding, as losing too much blood could be dangerous. She commented on the weakness of their opponents, suggesting that Izuku could win even from a hospital bed. Just then, Izuku took down the second-to-last thug, leaving only the man who had attacked Mei. "Let her go, and I promise you'll be able to eat normally within a week. If I have to take her from you, you won't be able to eat normally ever again," Izuku warned, his tone firm. The thug threatened to harm Mei, but Izuku countered, emphasizing respect for her and clarifying that he wasn't the one planning to hurt her. Bakugo noted that he could relate to Izuku's approach, while Aizawa cautioned that threatening someone with a hostage was risky, as it could lead to dire consequences. Just then, the thug turned around, releasing Mei, only to find himself face to face with Izuku's fist. Izuku delivered several powerful punches, knocking the last thug to the ground before walking away, leaving Mei to throw dirt over the bloodstains to obscure any evidence. Despite his vigilante actions, he remained her hero. Laughter erupted among their friends as they discussed Izuku's clever trick against the last thug. Kaminari praised the move, suggesting it could catch someone off guard in the future. Mei defended Izuku, stating that he wasn't a bad guy and that he had saved her. The group contemplated the complexities of Izuku's actions. On one hand, he had broken the law and could face punishment, on the other, he was helping people. This sparked discussions about the treatment of vigilantes and the harsh penalties some faced for simply trying to do good. As the chapter concluded, the author hinted at future stories involving Izuku in various scenarios, including meeting different versions of himself and exploring unique powers. The possibilities for the next adventures were endless, and the excitement for what was to come lingered in the air. "So while you all continue to talk about life, I will go and search for a new one," Truth said as everyone began chatting again, leaving him to his search. "Hey Midoriya, how does it feel to use one for all?" Kaminari asked, clearly curious. "Well, it's like this tingle all over your body, then a buzzing feeling and a rush of power, and pain, a lot of pain," Izuku replied with a laugh at the end. "Is that OFA or just the fact you broke your arms and legs?" Mitsuki chimed in. "Why did you break your finger on the first day?" Couldn't you just explain the situation to Nizu or something? I didn't want to get any special treatment, Izuku said. But you have special treatment and then you have help, which is what it would be. I know I wouldn't be able to fight after breaking my arm, Bubble Girl interjected. I doubt it hurt that much, Monoma said, not pleased with the dark smile Truth directed at him. Let's test that, shall we? Truth proposed. What? Monoma stuttered. I will give some of you the same OFA Izuku had in the entrance exam. You will all try to punch 5 times. Your arm won't break, but it will hurt. Whoever can finish the 5 punches and keep going wins a wish of their choice, redeemable at any time. This challenge intrigued many, and soon everyone from UA joined in, including both Todoroki brothers and most of the pro heroes, although some of the older heroes opted out. Now you will all run at 100% from Izuku at the entrance exam, so please aim somewhere safe, Truth instructed as everyone took their stances and punched once. This caused some to drop out immediately. All the female students paused, they had what they wanted, so a wish wasn't necessary. They just wanted to understand what Izuku had gone through. The same was true for some of the guys. However, after 3 punches, only Izuku, Bakugo, Kirishima, Shoto, Mirio, Tetsu, and Monoma remained. Monoma was pushing his limits, determined not to lose. The others had stopped after the 3rd punch, the pain was simply not worth it. Kirishima and Tetsu knew they wouldn't reach 5 punches, but they weren't in it for the wish. It was a test of power. The same went for Bakugo and Shoto, they could handle pain, but this was more than just discomfort. It started to hurt all over. Mirio and Izuku were faring better. Izuku, of course, was used to this pain, and compared to his fight against Muscular or Shoto, this felt mild. Both hardening quirk users managed to walk away with their heads held high, but Monoma fell to the floor, holding his arm in pain. Punch 5 caused Shoto and Bakugo to drop out, leaving 2 winners. Want to see one winner? You will get your wish, it's just for fun now. It would be Izuku's 1,000,000% smash. They both shrugged and nodded. This punch hurt a lot. They stopped after that, both telling Truth they would ask for their wishes later. DMN Midoriya, I never knew you hurt yourself that badly, Mirio said, rubbing his arm. But now you can wish for something. What is it going to be? Nijire asked, but both shrugged, uncertain. You could wish for some cool powers from the universes, Mina suggested. By the way, I found one a little while ago, just wanted to see how this worked out, Truth said, drawing everyone's attention. So what is it? Nana asked. It's weird. It might be a little hard on the eyes, but nothing bad happens, Truth replied, and everyone knew they would just have to wait and see. The screen displayed a massive battleground. Many villains lay on the floor while Izuku stood, barely able to remain upright. In front of him stood All for One, still dressed in a nice suit and laughing. Ah, so they will start hating me a little more during this universe, I see, AFO said without any real emotion. He understood that he was a villain who had nearly ruled the entire underworld at one point, and Izuku was their friend and ally. He didn't like the fact that his successor had decided to fight against his son. To use my Nomu, how pathetic. You heard wrong. I am not the strong one, that is Deku, Izuku said, coughing up a little blood. Yes, are you not the same person, or is that your hero persona? AFO taunted. Izuku started laughing again. What the heck? Aren't Izuku and Deku the same person? Toru asked, looking at Izuku, hoping he had some insight about himself. However, Izuku had no idea, the only thing he could think of was that perhaps it was a quirk like how Dark Shadow worked. Is it a quirk or something, Truth? Truth just laughed as the show continued. Not my hero name, no. That is the name I use when villains get trashed and beaten to near death. Oh really now? Well, please bring him, I should have some more fun with him. Izuku then reached into his pocket and grabbed a small perfume flask. He sprayed it on his upper lip, and at that moment, he dropped to the floor, asleep. That is Midnight's quirk, but why would he want to sleep now? Kaminari asked. Maybe he wanted to die in his sleep, Shoto suggested, unsure, but it made some sense in his mind. I might have a theory. It might be Izuku's quirk that requires him to sleep. I mean, he already had a perfume bottle for it, right? So perhaps this Izuku has a quirk that gives him a second persona, Momo proposed, and Izuku nodded, agreeing with her theory. Oh, how pathetic. You wasted my time, hopefully, you die peacefully within your sleep, how sad. AFO charged up an air cannon and aimed it at Izuku's body. But the moment AFO looked away was enough for Izuku's real quirk to take effect. He sprang up and attacked AFO with a hammer swing, knocking him back several meters. Guess Yamamoto was right. I think so, but we aren't sure yet. This is something Truth shows us to throw a complete curveball, Sato said, while Truth laughed more, sipping a coconut drink. Izuku's real quirk was strange. First, he couldn't use his full power. Izuku had managed to become a little stronger, but his quirk began to manifest in a different way while he slept. During these times, he transformed into a being he called Deku. Deku was immensely powerful, even more so than All Might, but he represented the darker side of Izuku's mind, craving chaos. Initially, this duality made Izuku seem almost villainous. Nizu observed the situation and confirmed, so, it's like a split personality disorder. Truth nodded in agreement, explaining that Izuku was essentially two individuals, Izuku, who aimed to save people, and Deku, who sought destruction. If given free rein, Deku could unleash chaos during the hours Izuku slept. As Izuku turned 15, Deku began to emerge more frequently. To combat this, All Might and UA took precautions. They upgraded Izuku's home, creating a secure sleeping area in the basement and providing wake-up injections for both Izuku and his mother, Inko. These injections were designed to rouse him quickly if he began to transform. Inko expressed her concerns, worrying that Izuku might harm All Might or his nemesis, All for One. She feared that if Deku took control, it would be a challenge for either All Might or Aizawa to keep him at bay. Deku's emergence was marked by a darker demeanor. He taunted his opponents, relishing the opportunity to fight. In one confrontation, he utilized defeated villains as projectiles against All for One, showcasing a resourceful yet unsettling strategy. Aizawa found humor in the situation, noting Deku's unconventional tactics. As the battle escalated, Deku faced off against a powerful Nomu, exchanging blows until he emerged victorious. His relentless aggression was reminiscent of a wild animal. Observers noted the significance of his strength, especially considering the Nomu's enhanced abilities. Deku's confidence grew as he confronted All for One directly, overpowering him despite the villain's attempts to retaliate. The unexpected strength of Deku left All for One bewildered, questioning how a child could defeat such a formidable foe. Just when it seemed All for One might escape, Deku relentlessly pursued him, delivering a fierce onslaught. It took the arrival of All Might and Eraserhead to finally intervene, but even then, Deku managed to evade capture momentarily. All for One, reflecting on the encounter, contemplated the nature of Izuku's power and the potential of embracing darkness to enhance his own abilities. As Izuku began to awaken, the implications of this duality loomed large. Izuku found himself on the ground, with All Might holding his shoulders and Mirio clutching his legs. Aizawa stared at him, eyes wide. "It's me, Izuku." "Sorry for that," he said as they released him. "Did I hurt anyone?" "No, AFO is still breathing, barely though," All Might replied, glancing at AFO, who lay on the floor, injured but alive. "But you won. Just please don't fall asleep for a while." All Might and Mirio leaned back, exhausted. Izuku had not only defeated an army of villains but also a stronger version of the Nomu that had troubled All Might at the USJ. He had taken down the formidable foe that had haunted the One for All users for decades, giving both Mirio and All Might a tough challenge. Plus, Mirio kind of has one for all in this one, so it's even more exciting, Ryuko added with a giggle. DMN, I kind of wish I had that type of power, but I can do without the darker side of it, Kaminari said, sipping from a glass of cola. I know, right? I would love to go toe-to-toe with All Might myself, but I still want to sleep normally without the fear of a darker me ruining everything, Kirishima chimed in. Well, let's find something new to watch, Truth suggested as he settled down to search for a new show. Izuku's adventures continued to inspire discussions about new universes and possibilities, with fans eager to see what would come next. We should start thinking of dates. Back in the real world, it was fun to see all those dates, but I would still like to go on one myself, you said, and many of the girls shared the same thought. And we will. I just have to think of special dates for each of you. You all deserve at least that much, Izuku replied, making the girls coo. Well, we could also just think of date ideas and bring you along. That way, your brain doesn't get overwhelmed, and we can do something nice for you, Ochiko suggested, and the majority of the girls agreed. After all, having one guy come up with 29 dates and counting would be quite a challenge. But how will you all figure out the dates? It could take half a year or more if you think about school and everything, Kirishima pointed out. You have a point there. He could have a different girl each day of the month, and if we want to give him free time plus time for schoolwork, it could end up being one date each week, Momo said, with Mina adding, just like how Nijire and Yuyu did their date, let's bundle up. Oh, I forgot to add someone, Truth said, snapping his fingers. A portal opened, and out came Psycho Intelli. She was a pale girl of reasonable height, with cat-like eyes and straight hair that reached down to her waist, framed by a neat fringe. Truth shared information with her, and she nodded. Hello, I am Psycho Intelli. Although Izuku had never met her in person, they were friends on an online website focused on quirks. She sat down, and Momo asked, Truth, not to be rude to Intelli, but why is she here? She doesn't have any relationship with Izuku, and I think that's important. Truth explained that while their relationship wasn't romantic, they were friends on several quirk websites, which made her presence relevant. Now let's watch a new one. This one is quite interesting, Truth said, snapping his fingers again. They saw Momo sitting with a sad expression, while Jiro and Monoma were nearby. Sorry, I had no idea that helping out my girl would get on TV right during your interview, Monoma said, leaning back in his chair, while Jiro glared at him. Where is Izuku? Someone asked. Oh, I spaced out. This world doesn't revolve around Izuku. He will show up, but he isn't the main character here, Monoma said, adding, of course, the gods saw reason, and now it's my turn to shine. Nope, it's Momo, someone corrected him. But why? He asked. Because reasons that would boggle your mind, came the reply. Momo was doing something that had never been done before. She lived like many others in a challenging environment, but she was not just any resident, she was the daughter of one of the leaders of that realm. What? So instead of being a hero in training, I'm now a demon, she exclaimed. Yep, that's it, Truth confirmed. But what is she doing here? I mean, it's Momo. Truth explained that she was born there, a fact that was beyond her control. What she was doing was setting up a hotel, but not just any hotel. This one would focus on helping people transition from their current situation to a better one. Some might think they wanted to stay where they were, but the reality was different. But isn't that place all about torture and pain? Someone asked. Not necessarily. I've seen places that only bear the name but are more like resorts. There are chaotic places, and then there are those that fit the stereotype, Truth explained. Still, wouldn't a better place be preferable? Someone mused. Momo had a TV appearance lined up at a news station, hoping to gain support for her idea. However, the host was not kind, and when she tried to express herself through song, they only laughed at her. But why in song? That seems odd, Kaminari commented, chuckling. Truth explained that Momo loved to sing and often did so. Unfortunately, things took a turn for the worse when they asked if she had someone in the program. She proudly responded with a yes, mentioning Nido Monoma, who had a colorful past. Just then, Monoma appeared on screen, causing chaos and undermining her efforts. "I am what now?" Monoma shouted, and Truth laughed, explaining his situation. The laughter continued, but it quickly faded as they witnessed Monoma's antics, which derailed Momo's plan entirely. Afterward, they made their way back to the hotel, where Jiro was scolding Nido, leading them to the empty Happy Hotel. A knock came at the door, and Momo hoped it was someone new who wanted to change their heart. Jiro blushed at the thought of dating Momo, and Momo mirrored her reaction. As Jiro's jacks flew around, Momo felt a warmth spread across her cheeks. "Cool, so they are dating," Izuku said with a smile, glad they had each other. "I wonder who this will be," Sato mused, half joking, as they all shared a sense of curiosity. "Hello, welcome to Happy Hotel," Momo greeted with a smile, but as she looked at the newcomer, a chill ran down her spine. The man wore a tuxedo, a big smile, and had dark green hair. Momo quickly closed the door just as Izuku attempted to say hello. "Who is it?" Jiro asked, peeking out. Momo opened the door again, only to see Jiro's shocked expression before closing it once more. "Ouch, got the door slammed in your face." "Why is that?" Ochiko giggled. "He's probably bad news if Momo felt a chill, and she's the heir of a demon lord," Psycho guessed, with Izuku nodding in agreement. Mirio chimed in, suggesting it might just be the man's breath. The door opened for the third time. "Can I finish my sentence now?" Izuku asked, his voice sounding distant. Why are you here? Do you want to enter heaven?" "Ha! Oh no, I'm just here to cure my boredom," the newcomer replied. Jiro promptly closed the door again. "We're not letting him in. He's one of the rulers of hell. If we let him in, it will bring nothing but chaos." "Guess I was right," Psycho said. "Can that creepy voice stop?" "It's giving me the creeps," Tomoko added, laughing nervously. "How does helping run a hotel cure his boredom?" Shoji wondered, but received no answer, so he sighed and continued observing. "Who was that?" someone asked. "You don't know him," came the reply. "Nah, I'm not into politics." "Is he a big deal?" "Yeah, he's like the big shot of big shots. Thousands of years ago, he came to hell and took out the ruling council. He's dangerous," Izuku explained, now inside and startling Momo and Jiro. "If he's a demon lord with unlimited power, thinking a simple door could stop him would be foolish," Jiro said. "Not if you have salt over the doorstep, many demons can't enter a home blocked by salt," Ochiko countered. "But if they're all demons, then nobody could enter, not even customers. He could just go through a wall, right? I mean, if Izuku can do it, why wouldn't a demon lord be able to?" Ojiro pointed out. "Why are you here?" Momo exclaimed at Izuku. "To help you, of course," he replied. "Why do you believe in the cause?" "Ha! No, it's for the sole purpose of curing my boredom." "I think this will be great entertainment," Izuku said, not hiding his intentions. "What?" Momo asked, confused. "I'll help you run this hotel, just so I can watch the weak-minded try to reach heaven, only to fail and repeat the process over and over," he continued, his voice growing darker. "Ah, a man after my own heart," Nizu said, enjoying the thought of watching people try and fail. "So where is the rest of the staff?" Izuku asked as he walked further inside. "We don't have any more staff, this is it. But we haven't said yes to you," Momo shouted. "Oh, but of course you will accept my help. You need it, as you're a train wreck waiting to happen." "So, deal," Izuku offered, extending his hand with a green light shining from it. "Oh no, we're not making any deals," Momo insisted. Izuku shrugged in response. I can't tell if this is a horror or a comedy, or a mix of both, someone remarked. So far, the only scary thing is Izuku's voice. Izuku continued to explore the hotel. So you have no staff to help clean this mess. What can you do? I hope you can at least smile, he said, pointing his cane at Jiro, who responded with a glare. Now, you, what can you do? Izuku asked Monoma, leaning in. I can, Monoma started, but Izuku interrupted, laughing, no. Many in the room found the interaction amusing, especially as Monoma reacted dramatically. Well, let's spruce up the place, shall we? Izuku declared. With a snap, a smaller girl named Komori appeared, speaking rapidly. She mistook Monoma for a girl and then insulted all the girls, claiming they lacked feminine skills, before starting to clean at an incredible speed. With a second snap, Aizawa appeared, holding cards in his hands. Hey, it's Komori-me, some of the group said, but as she playfully insulted the three of them, laughter erupted. When Aizawa showed up, a loud cheer for Dadzawa rang out from Class 1A, prompting a smirk that he managed to hide within his scarf. He was determined to earn the title of Izuku's dad by the end of this, alongside his 19 other students. Oh come on, why you? I just had a good hand. Aizawa exclaimed, directing his frustration at Izuku, who simply laughed in response. Izuku attempted to persuade Aizawa with a heartfelt story about friendship and supporting one another, but Aizawa dismissed it immediately. In a moment of mischief, Izuku produced a bottle labeled cheap booze, which seemed too tempting to resist. Aizawa then took his place behind the bar and began drinking the alcohol as if it were water after a long drought. Wow, not even expensive booze, how shameful, Present Mike remarked, but Nizu interjected. Well, some people prefer cheap booze over expensive. It depends on the effect you want. If you want to enjoy the taste, you need to spend more money. But if you simply wish to forget everything, a few bottles of cheap booze can be more effective than one bottle of expensive. With that look, he's definitely trying to forget something, Namuri chuckled. Now that was fun, right? She added. It was something at least, Monoma replied, still feeling a bit down. Well, let's see what we can expect next, Nana said as Truth went to investigate. So, Izuku, want to go on a date? Huh? Izuku responded to Nana's question, feeling a bit confused about the situation. Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a bit from you so far, so I thought, why not? So, what do you say? Nana, are you sure about this? Sora asked. Of course I am, Nana replied. I was never against the idea, I just wanted to think about it a little bit. But the girls. I can't say yes when I'm already dating, Izuku said. Oh, but if that weren't the case, you wouldn't have any problem with dating me, Nana countered. Of course not. You're pretty, and if All Might looks up to you, it would be hard to be a bad person, right? But like we said, we have no problem with it, so I guess we just grew a little, Namuri chimed in, causing the girls to giggle. It was a strange situation, but none of them truly had an issue with the relationship evolving. Meanwhile, Mineta was feeling quite upset, lamenting in his mind that Izuku had caught the attention of someone so impressive. Nana, like the other girls, decided to join the large cuddle pile, sitting right behind Izuku next to Rei. So, what are we watching? I hope it's fun, Izuku said. Yeah, I think they decided on something. It's a bit weird but also really cool, Sora replied. What is it about? Izuku asked. I can't tell you, it's explained within the show, Sora said, snapping his fingers to start the screen. The scene shifted to Izuku walking down the street, receiving some curious looks due to his height of 6 feet 4 inches. He wore his middle school outfit and walked with his eyes closed in thought until he passed under an underpass and noticed something crawling out from a manhole. He opened one eye and saw sludge. How does he walk around without looking? Look at how busy that street is, someone commented. It's part of his very powerful quirk, Sora explained. You won't tell us his quirk, will you? Another asked. Nope, Sora replied. You know what I find more impressive? That I can walk with that many eyes on me, Izuku said, eliciting laughter from his friends. The sludge began crawling up his leg and toward his body. Kid, let me use your body real quick, I need to get away from him. I didn't know he was in this city, the sludge said. The heat the sludge is talking about is All Might, right? Kamakiri asked, and Sora nodded. Yep, that's correct. But as you know, it has very little use, Sora added. Yeah, because All Might will pop out and save the day, Kaminari said, throwing an uppercut into the air. Inside Izuku's head, part of his quirk was already at work. The moment the sludge entered him, it began to absorb. What the heck? Why are you not dying? The sludge exclaimed as it poured more into Izuku, who looked unfazed. Before Izuku could react, the manhole cover shot up, alerting the sludge villain as Izuku was already aware of the situation. What the hell? I would like to know more about his quirk, someone said. I know, but like I said, it's told in the story, and explaining something twice is just unnecessary, Sora replied. PFF, that's just an excuse for being lazy, Mitsuki teased, burning a playful glare from Sora. Excuse you, madam. Me being lazy has nothing to do with this whatsoever, Sora retorted, causing more chuckles from the group. Fear not, citizen. Do you want to know why? A familiar voice boomed, and it was clear that it was All Might. Izuku, wanting to fully nerd out, paused as his quirk analyzed All Might, leaving him quite shocked. Because I am here. Detroit Smash. All Might punched the sludge away from Izuku, who seemed unaffected by the punch except for his hair. Let's see how you handle this, Toshi, Nana said, watching as Toshi began to sweat, recalling what was about to happen. What in the world were you thinking, you big blonde idiot? Nana yelled at him, alongside Recovery Girl. You just punched a villain with a hostage, you could have hurt him, you big oaf. Recovery Girl added, shaking her cane at All Might. Yeah, but look, it didn't affect him, Achiko pointed out as Izuku braced himself against the wind pressure like it was just a gentle breeze. I'm more curious about his quirk. So far, it seems to analyze anything he looks at, but also anything that enters his body, taking steps to ensure he doesn't take in anything toxic, Psycho mused. Oh wow, All Might, are you okay? Someone asked. Ha ha ha. Of course, I am, young man. I am all right, ah ha ha. All Might laughed, delivering one of his most famous lines. Izuku looked back and saw that the slug villain was knocked out. But should you keep that form any longer? He asked, concern evident in his voice, shocking All Might, who took a defensive stance. What are you talking about? All Might replied. Well, you are straining your body at the moment, right? Is that even healthy? How do you know that? Who are you? All Might questioned. I feel you, All Might. I too would be creeped out by some random kid I don't know talking about my secret like that, Rumi chimed in with a chuckle. But to answer your question, no, it isn't healthy, and I advise against it. But the world still needs a symbol. I can't just give in because I'm under the weather, All Might insisted to Recovery Girl. Izuku looked confused for a moment before realization dawned on him. Oh, sorry. It's part of my quirk. It analyzes nearly everything and gives me a rundown of that. With that, I noticed your injuries to your lungs and stomach, as well as some of your other organs. Alright, All Might conceded. But you should power down, it seems you are already straining yourself a lot. All Might powered down, which worried Izuku. Ah, so that is only a part of his quirk. So that would mean there is more behind it, correct? Psycho asked Truth, who nodded. You're a smart cookie. Well, perhaps what we have seen so far isn't just one part but multiple, Bubble Girl suggested, also contemplating Izuku's quirk. What do you mean? Izuku inquired, curious if they were thinking along the same lines. Well, we saw him walk with his eyes closed, which shows some sort of sensing ability, maybe LTRS and like a bat. Then with the sludge, he absorbed it, not destroyed it. So perhaps his quirk is to absorb things and gain those abilities for himself. But what about the analyzing part? Momo asked. Perhaps that is the second part of his quirk. Maybe he gained it by absorbing someone else with a quirk like that, Bubble Girl speculated, and both Izuku and Psycho believed that was the closest they would get to an answer at that point. Please keep this to yourself, I do not want this to come out, Izuku said earnestly. I understand, All Might, but I might be able to help you. Ha, I'm sure you think that, young man, but a lot of people have tried, so I doubt it, All Might replied. Please come with me, sir. I can explain how, but I don't like doing it in public. All Might agreed, as he still had a minute or two with One for All, so if the need arose, he could still make his exit. Now healing comes into the mix as well. It's almost as if he has multiple powers, Izuku noted. Ha, what if it's like a version of his father's quirk? You know, like a weird version of All for One, Aways suggested. That could very well be the case, Izuku said, considering Aways' comment. So far, he had shown a lot of different abilities, so a version of All for One made sense. They made their way to Izuku's house, not forgetting about the slug villain. Before they left, All Might emptied 2 2-liter bottles of soda and placed the villain inside. As they arrived at Izuku's house, he announced he was home and brought a guest. His mother, of course, came right to the door to greet them. She wondered who the sickly old man was, but if her Izuku brought him, he couldn't do much harm. No way did he fit in a bottle like that. How? Izuku joked. I went plus ultra, All Might replied, prompting groans from those around him. But that was just what he did, he had to go plus ultra to fit the villain in there. I don't know whether to believe Miss Midoriya or warn her. We still don't fully know Midoriya's strength, so could he stand against All Might, someone pondered. Yes, he could without a doubt. Only Eraserhead could face him. Not even Nimuri with her gas could affect him, as his quirk removed toxins, another voice chimed in. So, about your quirk, how could that help me? All Might asked as he sat down. My quirk is a special one. It's called slime, but it's much more than just that. When I first awakened my quirk, I was 10. It was a hot summer day, and my mother and I were making our way to the beach. On that trip, a knife-wielding maniac ran toward my mother to stab her, and I stepped in the way to save her. He killed me. But you're not dead, All Might pointed out, with Inko laughing from the kitchen and Izuku from the couch. So Izuku was killed to gain his quirk, and his quirk saved his life. That's a rough idea, someone remarked. Yep, it kinda is, Izuku agreed. But wait, if I never died, would I never have gotten my quirk? No, you would have gotten it, it would have just taken a lot longer, maybe until your 30s or even 40s, Truth explained, causing Izuku to grimace at the thought of being quirkless until he was, nope, I am still alive. But that death was the factor for my quirk. As I lay on the floor bleeding to death in my mother's arms, I started melting and then turned into a green slime, Izuku said, demonstrating by transforming into a slime not much bigger than a basketball. But that wasn't it, I gained a voice within my head called Great Sage. She tells me a lot of things I need to know, and a skill called Predator, which allows me to eat anything I want. All Might listened closely but didn't see the point. Oh my god, he is so cute, Rumi exclaimed without thinking at the sight of slime Izuku. Oh, he looks like such a good hug size, Ochiko added. I want that, Eri exclaimed as Truth teleported in 2 stuffed slimes, both green and the size of Izuku, for Eri and Koda, who hugged their new plush toys closer. I wished that was it, but there was so much more. I also fell into a sleep, and in that sleep, I woke up in a new world within my head. In this world, all sorts of monsters and humans live together. I lived there for 2 whole weeks, but in the real world, it was only about 16 hours. For All Might, who already had a peculiar quirk, this started sounding even stranger. What kind of quirk is that? He can eat anything he wants and has a voice in his head that talks to him, and he can transport to a fantasy land? Kaminari said, with nearly everyone looking somewhat confused. In that world, I did loads of different things, but one thing that stayed the same was that the abilities I gained remained with me. When Great Sage upgraded into the skilled god of wisdom Raphael, it got a boost that allowed for near-perfect analysis of everything I see, and a perfect one of things I eat. So, in a way, I could eat you, then analyze you completely, see what is wrong, and recreate the injured parts to replace them with new ones. Not to be rude, but that sounds like a fantasy story, someone remarked. I would also doubt that, Izuku said. It was strange. On one hand, it sounded like a lie since nobody could have that many bizarre powers at once, but on the other hand, it seemed too outlandish to be made up. A better lie would be something simpler, like claiming he could heal by liking someone, which would sound weird but not impossible. That is a cool name for a part of his quirk, though, God of Wisdom Raphael. Hearing someone with a quirk like that is a little intimidating. What is his quirk called? Slime, Truth replied, causing everyone to look at him, laughing. A quirk that's strong and with so many abilities just called slime. Not even slime god or something. Nope, just slime. I understand that, but it's the truth. It would take me around 3 hours in total for you, then you would be perfectly fine. But I would know everything about you and gain your quirk. Excuse me. My quirk would analyze your quirk and copy it. I have done it with some of my family's quirks as well. It's not dangerous. Yeah, of course, add one for all to the mix as well. It's not like he could get any stronger. Oh, but he can. He can still get so much stronger, Truth said, sending a chill through all the watchers. How? Well, he can copy quirks. He can copy all quirks. So he could copy the quirks of all strong pro heroes as well as the quirks of every student. That means he could hold all the quirks of the top 20 heroes himself, Ryuko explained, and they began to understand. All Might wanted to be back at 100%, so he took a gamble. He told Izuku about One for All beforehand and said that his quirk would be used for good against his mortal enemy. Izuku assured him that he would still be able to pass down One for All. All Might agreed but wanted to say goodbye in case it went wrong. Izuku believed nothing could go wrong, but if the number one hero thought so, he would let him think that. All Might placed his phone down and stood ready. Izuku, who was still a slime, transformed back into a human and pointed his hand forward. This made All Might think of AFO for a moment, but as Izuku's hand shot out, it exploded into green slime and covered All Might completely. Within Izuku, All Might found himself in a new city, where multiple people stood. Hello, All Might-sama. Welcome to Tempest, a large green human-like monster greeted him. For All Might, what felt like 3 days passed before he popped back out. Wow, who are those people, and where is All Might? Mirio asked. Well, that is Izuku's world. It is the city he built, Tempest, the city of monsters. That green guy is called Rigard, he is the prime minister of that city. But those are all the people that follow Izuku. But how do they know of me by name? Oh, that is because Izuku told them about you. They were informed about the other world. It's also a part of his quirk, he could summon them to that world in case he ever needed help. Within those 3 hours for Izuku, but 3 days for All Might, quite a bit happened. All Might was told the story of Izuku, who went by Rimuru Tempest in this world, by a man called Bemimaru, who called himself a samurai general. However, within the first hour, the heroes from UA burst into the Midoriya household. Izuku told them the entire story, but they didn't believe him. He said if they waited 2 more hours, All Might could tell them himself. DMN, he looks cool as hell, Kaminari said as Bemimaru appeared on screen. He did look impressive, and they enjoyed the small stories they heard about Rimuru, how he met them in the forest and, although he had the power to wipe them off the earth effortlessly, he chose not to and instead gave them the power to avenge their people. I had a feeling something like that would happen, Inko said as she saw the heroes burst into her house, all ready to fight. Everyone laughed as Yue rushed in, only to find a small woman and her son playing checkers together at the kitchen table, with All Might's phone on the coffee table and enough tea and chairs set up for them to take a seat. Izuku sensed them right, Momo remarked, with Truth nodding. Then, not 30 minutes later, 2 new people showed up, 2 women. One wore a purple suit with large horns sticking out of her head, and the other was smaller, with 2 smaller white horns and an old Japanese-style kimono. They were 2 of Izuku's girlfriends, both from his fantasy world, and somehow, they were able to come to this one with Izuku. So much like Izuku, they could hop between worlds. Mineta shouted in surprise, only to be silenced by a large cage. This will block all inappropriate language from your mouth. I will also receive information about any bad words, and if I believe it to be excessive, there will be consequences, the instructor warned. For Mineta, that meant losing something he cherished, and he was determined to avoid that. After 2 hours, All Might was healed and rested, emerging from Izuku's care. While everyone was concerned for All Might, he bowed to Izuku, expressing his eternal gratitude. To the astonishment of the teachers, All Might appeared much healthier. He wasn't back to his full muscular form, but he resembled Vlad King in his prime. "See, I told you, I am not a bad slime," he said, transforming into his slime form, which nearly prompted Midnight to rush in and hug him. "Understandable," the girls said in unison, all wanting to embrace him. He was just too adorable for his own good. "Man, I want to know more about that world, it looked amazing." "Don't worry, in due time, I believe we will get to see the second part of it," Truth replied as he began searching for something to watch again. The chapter concluded with a reminder to engage with the story by voting and commenting if they enjoyed it. The author expressed hope that readers enjoyed the chapter and mentioned plans for a second part while inviting new suggestions. They noted that if a suggested power set was similar to another, they might combine them to avoid redundancy. Some ideas for future chapters included Izuku with the powers of Omni-Man and Superman, Izuku with Luffy's Devil Fruit, and various versions of Izuku from different universes. The author encouraged readers to share their thoughts on other Izuku variations they would like to see in the next part. Quick question, one of the group said. "Sure, what's up?" Truth replied. "How about we let Izuku meet other Izukus?" Bubble Girl asked, curious about Truth's abilities. "Yeah, remember I can do whatever I want. What do you think? It could be from some of the universes we've already watched. Maybe Izuku could learn something from them," Truth suggested, prompting everyone to think it over. So, Izuku could learn something from all of them? Like he could learn how to better use AFO by asking AFO Izuku, right? Pony inquired. "Yes, that's correct. I doubt he could learn a lot from just one conversation, but perhaps he would improve a little. So, are we all agreeing to do this next?" Truth asked, and everyone nodded in agreement. "Cool, then let's start," Truth said, snapping his fingers. Izuku found himself transported into a beautifully decorated room, alone with Truth. "Now take a seat, Izuku. I will bring the first one here. You will talk to them one-on-one. You can share what you know with them. Some won't have OFA, so don't mention that. For the rest, anything you know about their world or anything you want to help them with can be said," Truth instructed before snapping his fingers and disappearing. As another Izuku took his place, Kaminari wondered who he would speak to. "I wouldn't mind him talking to that super cook, you know. Maybe he could share some recipes with himself and give us access to amazing food," Setsuna said, imagining delicious snacks. "Oh, maybe that Izuku with the suitcase and the glowing light so he can share some of his inventions with me," Mei added, excited at the thought. "Hi," the original Izuku greeted the new Izuku, who looked quite similar to him. "Hi. Was that guy a god, or is this just some weird stuff done by Toga and the League of Villains?" the new Izuku asked, to which the original nodded. "Yep, he's really a god. He calls himself Truth. To prove it, I could tell you some things, but I need to know about your quirk first. Sure, it's not like if your villains could do anything about it. I'm unkillable, the new Izuku replied confidently. It's kind of weird seeing Izuku talk with himself, Achiko remarked, while Melissa added, thankfully we can see who our Izuku is by the clothing he wears. Momo chimed in, unkillable was the one where we received trauma, correct? Yep, that's the one, Truth confirmed as he appeared again. Oh, that's you, cool. On your first day at UA, you had Nemuri on your arm, and when you entered the class, Kaken blew up your head as a joke. After him, Kaminari was next to try to take you out, the new Izuku recounted. What the heck? How do you know that? The original Izuku asked, surprised. What did Truth tell you? The new Izuku queried. Not much, just that I needed to talk with someone, he replied. That does sound like Truth. Well, the deal is, my universe is sitting around watching other universes like yours. So you've seen my entire life or something? The original Izuku asked. Sounding worried. I wouldn't want people to look at my entire life either. I've done things I don't want coming out, Rin said, and many nodded in agreement, each holding their own secrets. No, we saw you get executed by someone on the street, only to take him down and then go eat at Auntie's. Then you got exploded by Kaken, and you fought Shigaraki at the USJ. That was when it stopped, the new Izuku explained. Oh, so you're going to watch more. If you saw that and liked it, the sports festival was quite the spectacle. It was the first one that had to be censored, and there was Mirio before me, he said with a laugh. Now I want to know how intense it's going to get, Kamakiri said. Well, if we go by the same matchups, I doubt Hitoshi's fight would change much. His fight against Todoroki would turn in his favor since he lost because of his injuries. Then he would go against Ida, who again wouldn't be able to get too intense, but his fight against Bakugo would be the worst, Mirio speculated. So, what's your world like? Anything special going on? The new Izuku asked. I guess so. You know the villain all for one? He's my dad, and I got AFO, but he stole it when I was 4, the original Izuku explained. So he's my dad as well? The new Izuku questioned. Not necessarily. It could be, but I'm not sure, the original replied. Truth then reappeared. Yo, I have the second one ready, so how about both of you give each other some advice before we bring in the next one? Don't die. It hurts the first time, the new Izuku advised. Don't try to die every time. You never know if your quirk has a limit or maybe a weakness that you were unaware of, the original added as they shook hands before the new Izuku left and another took his place. Wow, that's some top-tier advice. Don't die. Like, no kidding, it's not like we don't know that, one of the group commented. Well, I believe I could have used a refresher course before the overhaul raid, Night Eye said, trying to keep a straight face as Bakugo bit his lip to suppress a laugh at the dark humor. The new Izuku wore a purple suit, looked pale, and had a massive smile on his face. The original Izuku quickly remembered this was Joker Izuku, a villain. Don't worry, silly little hero, I won't hurt you for now, he said, sitting down. The original Izuku took a seat as well, but kept his guard up. Now, I was told you wanted to talk. So what do you want? I have a hero society to terrorize, Joker Izuku said with a laugh. Why are you a villain? The original Izuku asked. The room was tense, they didn't like the idea of Izuku being in the presence of an evil version of himself, but there was little they could do if a confrontation arose. Going straight to the questions, no beating around the bush. Good. The less time they spend talking, the less we have to worry, Pixie Bob remarked. Who said I'm a villain? I haven't done many bad things. I've taken down a few fake heroes and exposed lying heroes, Joker Izuku replied, his smile unwavering. You beat up All Might and attacked my friends, the original Izuku countered, feeling the weight of the conversation. I want to know why, Izuku said, his voice filled with determination. Because of heroes. You had All Might tell you that you couldn't be a hero, and then after being more heroic than any hero, you saw his face look at you with pity. A false hero being praised for being nothing more than a hostage that created problems. So please tell me why you chose to be one of them. How can you even become the people you hated? Although I might not like it, he does bring up good points, another voice replied. For him, his entire life has been nothing but insult after insult. Having your one heroic action that should have changed everything result in nothing but more insults would be rough. I did hate them before, I felt betrayed. Years of abuse from countless people, and nobody lifted a finger. Of course, I wanted to lash out, what sane person wouldn't? But if I did that, how could I ever be the hero that looks out for the little man? What example would I set for all the young boys and girls who had it worse than me? I want to be there for them. When I become a hero, I will change the minds of the people. And because I will do that, I will never become a villain. You are just me that gave up. That is true. I believe I might talk with the heroes in that area, and it might be best for All Might to give a good talk on TV about how a real hero is not someone with a strong quirk but someone with a strong will to save people, the speaker continued. All Might nodded, feeling disappointed in himself. He had never had that talk before because he never thought he would have to. People who wanted to become heroes should know to treat everyone with respect. He had never considered quirklessness, which was part of the problem, but that would change. He appreciated Izuku standing up for himself, but he wondered if it was necessary to insult someone like Joker, who had no qualms about causing harm. Izuku explained that it was more his emotions taking over, but he meant every word. When he expected Joker to look angry, he was surprised to see him laughing maniacally. I never gave up, foolish boy. I gave in. I gave in to all the thoughts that screamed at me for a real change. Do you believe that the words of one foolish boy could change anything? That is where we differ the most. I am not alone, I have all my friends standing behind me. They have supported me so far, and I believe we can make a difference, Izuku replied, glaring at Joker. Truth returned, wanting them to at least give some advice to each other. Hell yeah, Midoriya. I am with you all the way because that is the manly thing to do. Kirishima declared, a proud tear running down his cheek. Everyone shared the same thought, they would help Izuku with his dream and felt honored to support their good friend in his goal of peace. Instead of trying to destroy everyone, keep in mind that some people are genuinely in it for the good of others, Joker said as he was teleported away with Izuku. The original Izuku remembered more because of the light on his chest, it was Iron Izuku. Ochiko felt a little bad after hearing Joker mention that some heroes were only in it for the money, but as she felt some of the girls hug her, she started to feel better. Mei was excited about the fact that Iron Izuku was now talking with their Izuku and the possibilities of creating more amazing inventions. Don't tell me that is your style, you look horrible, Iron Izuku remarked, noticing that Izuku still wore an open shirt with swim trunks. No, but my girlfriends like it, so what's wrong with it? First girlfriends. Second off, you look like a dad on vacation, all you're missing are those weird sandals. But who are you dating? Iron Izuku teased. The original Izuku sighed, it might be a shorter list if I just say who I am not dating, which made Iron Izuku's eyes widen in surprise. That is kind of true. So far, the only ones single are Bubble Girl, Intelli, and 13 here, Kaminari noted. You are forgetting one, Sugar, Recovery Girl joked, winking at Kaminari, causing her and Gran Torino to burst out laughing at the kids' reactions. So you have been seeing my rise to fame, have you not? Iron Izuku asked. Sort of. We just saw you at the sports festival, nothing else really, came the reply. I was still the best thing there, second, of course, to Mei and Melissa, he said with a confident smirk. Oh, I have to ask this. Because Mei and Melissa might kill me if I don't, but can I get the blueprints on that suit or at least that generator light thing on your chest? I won't give it to her, but I will explain it once so that she can think of a way to do it herself, Iron Izuku said, looking directly into the camera, which was the work of truth but looked cool nonetheless. "That does give off a cool vibe," Cyril commented as May, Melissa, David Shield, and Power Loader all grabbed pen and paper to jot down information. They all had their reasons. May and Melissa wanted to create more amazing inventions, David wanted to see if he could do anything special with it, and Power Loader had his own interests in mind. He wanted to create something significant for UA, which would reduce electricity costs and allow for a larger budget for the support course. "Izuku, are you listening? This is how it works. It harnesses energy by removing electrons from hydrogen atoms. This process creates an ion plasma, which is a powerful energy source. You can build it yourself, but since you can't reward me, how about giving your Izuku a big kiss when he gets back?" Iron Izuku said with a smile. No one had seen a pen move that quickly before, except when used by Izuku. The four of them began to jot down how they could achieve that effect and shared possible applications. "Oh, he is going to get the biggest kiss he's ever had," May said, continuing to write on the paper. The girls sat next to her, and although they were smart enough to understand her notes, May's handwriting was difficult to read. "It's time for the next one. Give some advice, and let's move on." "Sure thing. The best advice I can give you about May is to avoid giving her coffee. Melissa knows when to go to bed and can handle caffeine, but May cannot. To save your Earth and UA, don't give her any coffee. Also, make sure she sleeps at least every 2 days. Don't ask her, just take her and put her to bed as the little spoon. This will reduce the chance of explosions by 34%. Make her eat warm meals at least twice a day, which boosts the chance to 55%. And no Power Loader, only Izuku can handle that. You tried once in my world, and she nearly blew up half the school. I'll keep that in mind. For you, I think you should focus on making gadgets that help everyone become better heroes instead of trying to make others look bad. I might consider that, but the only advice I'll take is that I might have a chance with more than just May and Melissa," Iron Izuku replied before being teleported away, leaving behind a rougher version of Izuku. Izuku sat down, still holding the three girls. As he settled, they perched on his lap and leaned against his back. He whispered to Nana, who was trying to maintain a brave face, "Nana, are you doing okay?" She forced a smile and replied, "Yeah, why do you ask?" "You know why. You don't have to act strong. It's okay to feel sad or even angry. But know this, I will bring him back. I will get him out of the darkness. It might not be pretty, but I will bring him back," he assured her as she played with his hair. "Thank you, Izuku," she said softly. Namuri chimed in, "We have to find a way for you to really bring him back. I doubt he will want to come back. Especially since he won't like you at all. First off, he already hates you, and now you're dating his grandmother," Mina added, causing some of the girls to chuckle, even Nana. "Not yet, but let's see what happens," Nana said with a wink and a laugh. She was glad to be in this unusual relationship. "Well, maybe your father taught him to respect his parents, so being his new granddad might earn you some points," Setsuna joked. "You guys are making it sound weird," Izuku protested. "No, Izuku, it is weird. God brought her back from the dead, and she joined your harem. Not only is she the 7th user of One for All, but her grandson also has a serious grudge against you. There's no way to make that sound normal," Kyoka pointed out. "You're right," Izuku admitted. "Hey, Izuku, I was wondering. You know most of our secrets, why don't we know yours? How about you tell us one?" Kinoko suggested. "What?" he replied, confused. "Yeah, give us a fun one, not your obvious hero or quirk preference." "Something else," she insisted. "I don't have any," he said. "Please, Izuku," Nijire pleaded with wide eyes. "Fine, I guess I like watching girls kiss each other," he said quickly, causing the girls to blush. Yui then leaned in and kissed Nijire, leaving Izuku in shock. He felt a tap on his shoulder and turned to see Namuri and Emi sharing a kiss as well. "What are they doing?" Shiro asked, bewildered by the scene unfolding. Oh, that? They found out about one of Izuku's preferences, so they're testing if it's true, Truth explained nonchalantly. Lucky guy, Kaminari muttered, feeling envious of Izuku. Now, if you all can take a minute to stop distracting Izuku, I found something we can watch, Truth said. Fine, but only for now, Namuri replied, pulling away from Emi. You're a good kisser, Emi, she complimented. You're not bad yourself. But what are we watching, Truth? Oh, we're going to watch part 2 of Swordsman. I think some of you will really enjoy it, Truth announced. Oh, yes. We finally get to see how that war finished up, Kaminari exclaimed. I bet he'll rally us to join him, and we'll fight the army together as heroes, he added eagerly. Well, let's find out, shall we? Truth said with a snap. Izuku stood in front of Hachiko, wielding only Wado, while Shigaraki clutched his new stump with his metal arm. He was using one of his quirks to try to heal the wound, but his regeneration was weak. AFO had given Shigaraki multiple defensive quirks, but Izuku cut through them faster than expected. How strong was his body if Midoriya could cut through it? Kamakiri asked, intrigued. I heard Shigaraki could break concrete with his hands and easily dent metal, Melissa replied, impressed. What a foolish boy you are. You believe you can face me and dare to lay a hand on my successor. I expected you would show up eventually, AFO said, snapping his fingers. A middle-aged man in traditional samurai armor appeared, katana at his hip. I heard you made a name for yourself as a swordsman, so I found this man. He goes by Kenshi of the Red Blade, and he's eager to challenge what he calls a fake swordsman, AFO said with a chuckle, while Izuku looked annoyed. A new bad guy shows up, and it's a swordsman. That's going to be epic, someone exclaimed. Nah, dude, Izuku is out of that guy's league, Kami remarked. Yeah, our Izuku will definitely take him down. He's the strongest here, Mina added confidently. Okay, Hachiko, try to gather as many heroes as you can and back off. I'm going to take down AFO and anyone who gets in my way. But I don't want to babysit the injured, Izuku instructed. For the heroes still conscious, it sounded like a massive insult, but Hachiko understood it was just a fact. She nodded and began moving everyone back while Izuku prepared to face the villains. I feel bad hearing that, but it's true. There's no way I could ever help fight someone with that much strength and survive without getting saved, Shiro admitted. Don't worry too much, Shiro. Very few heroes could stand next to All Might and not be in danger. But even the weakest can win against the strongest if they work together, Izuku reassured him. Yeah, if we stick together, we can take on even the strongest opponents because that is what being a hero is all about, Kirishima said. Confidently. AFO, displeased, ordered one of his minions to fire a bone arrow at Hachiko. The arrow shot out at bullet speed, and Hachiko fell back in fear, thinking she was done for. But Izuku swiftly sliced the arrow in half just before it reached her. Izuku faced his opponent with determination, warning him, your fight will be against me, so be patient, or you'll regret it. The bone arrow user looked intimidated. Shinso, observing the exchange, remarked, wow, he can react that fast, I barely saw it. Aizawa nodded in agreement, noting that if Shinso wanted to join the hero course, they needed to work on his reaction time. It was evident to Aizawa that he didn't want to babysit them. He could have easily dodged the attack, but Izuku's ability to cut the arrow in two was impressive. Kenshi charged forward, attempting to strike Izuku with a spinning attack, but Izuku effortlessly blocked it with Wado, barely paying attention. You don't think such a weak sneak attack could catch me off guard, he said, his gaze steady. Kenshi felt a surge of fear and quickly jumped back, raising his guard. Pixie Bob commented, am I the only one who thinks it's impressive how Izuku can scare someone just with a look? Rumi smiled, slightly biting her lip, agreeing that it was indeed captivating. Present Mike questioned how anyone could think Izuku was a fake swordsman, while Truth shared a laugh, explaining, it's a funny story. Izuku is so strong that when his feats are shared, people think they're exaggerated. Those who have seen him know his true strength, but those who haven't often dismiss him as a fraud. Kenshi, trying to regain his confidence, declared, "I might have underestimated you, but you still stand no chance against me. I'll take your fame for myself." He lunged forward, aiming to pierce Izuku's chest. However, Izuku deftly deflected the attack with Wado and shoulder-checked Kenshi, causing him to stumble and fall. Izuku pointed Wado at his neck, stating, "You have lost, take it with honor." That was an impressive move, someone remarked, while others expressed their excitement over Izuku's display of skill. Why does he still think he can win? Aizawa mused, noting that many common thugs overestimate their abilities, making them easier to defeat. Kenshi, desperate, swatted at Wado and attempted to crawl away. Izuku remained composed, barely shifting his stance. "That was just luck, your tricks won't work again," Kenshi insisted, gripping his sword tightly. He then launched into his special technique, Red Flash Death Dance, hoping to catch Izuku off guard. But Izuku was ready, piercing Kenshi's wrist with Wado, rendering him unable to move. Bakugo laughed, "What a weak excuse," while others noted how Kenshi was being outclassed. They couldn't believe how easily Izuku was handling him. In a tense moment, Izuku confronted Kenshi, demanding to know his mother's location. Kenshi, now on the ground, cried out in pain as Izuku pulled Wado away. AFO, watching from a distance, declared that whoever defeated Kenshi would gain a powerful quirk, prompting his minions to cheer for more power. A squad of long-range quirk users aimed their abilities at Izuku, who was still protecting the injured heroes behind him. "Please let Izuku find cover, I don't want him to get hurt," Ryuko said anxiously. Inko, worried, wondered how Izuku could be so strong without a quirk. As the quirks were unleashed, Izuku focused, using his sword skills to block or deflect each attack with precision. Meanwhile, the heroes behind him debated whether to join the fight. Aizawa, despite his injuries, insisted they couldn't let Izuku face this alone. Namuri, though injured herself, urged him to stay back, worried for the young hero's safety. "If you really want to help, make sure we are all safe and not on the battlefield. He can't move freely because he has to protect us," Ibra said as she got up from her position. "Absolutely, you tell him, Nem." Grumpy old man, Present Mike cheered, while Aizawa looked at him in confusion. "We're the same age," he replied. "Is Midoriya dating anyone?" Ojiro asked. "No, but he has options. He doesn't want to date anyone right now because he wants to become the strongest and be seen as a real person. However, Achiko, Mina, and Namuri are all open to dating him," Truth explained, with the three ladies smiling. She wasn't hiding, she had been injured and was bandaged up. "Same here. My leg might be gone for now, but my arms still work a little," Setsuna said, revealing her missing leg. It wasn't all that bad, she would regrow it, but it still felt painful to be missing a leg. With that, Setsuna, Ibra, and Achiko, who was determined not to fail the task Izuku had given her to bring all heroes to safety, moved forward. Meanwhile, Izuku was focused on blocking the barrage of projectiles. "I wonder if we are going to get anything out of this, like a cool power boost or something," Toru said, and the girls nodded in agreement. "Yeah, but for all the loners, I would like something as well. I would love a new move," Kaminari added. "Well, I might be able to help with that when we get back. I've been taking notes on everything. And who knows, with AFO, I might be able to do something," Izuku replied. "You should be careful with that. Most people cannot handle more quirks. Giving them one could lead to chaos in their minds. There are rare cases where some can gain multiple quirks, but it's not common," he continued. "But what about Izuku himself? Is him taking quirks dangerous?" Kirishima asked. "Oh no, it's not. Unlike me, he has a near unlimited capacity for them. I have a limit, although it's quite high. Even then, we don't become mindless, we just feel overwhelmed," Izuku explained. So that means we can't get a lot of quirks or even one, right? Kirishima questioned. Forget extra quirks. Just focus on getting stronger with your power, Bakugo said. That's easy for you to say, Toru huffed. Toru, you are still a strong fighter. If you learn a real fighting skill, it will help. It's hard to fight someone you can't see, especially if that person is a skilled fighter. Fighting relies on reaction. You see someone lining up for a punch, you counter it, Izuku advised. But then I have to go without clothes, which is weird, especially if I have to grapple with someone, Toru replied. About that, why did you request that? It's a strange request that I would assume most support companies would at least provide some cover-up, Izuku said. No, I said I didn't need anything because I was invisible, Toru clarified. Excuse me, Izuku said, breaking the pencil he was holding as he and several teachers looked at her. Did you ask for normal clothing, or just gloves and boots? Nizu inquired. Clothing, she said, unsure of the whole situation. Oh, Nizu, please tell me you will fix this because if I do, it's going to be a mess, Izuku said. How would you handle that? Nizu asked. They are forcing someone to walk around without any protection. Letting that get out to some of the pro heroes and schools should be enough to put them in a difficult position, Izuku suggested. And if that isn't enough, you could always ask your two talented friends to create and improve on all their gadgets and put them on the market for free. But what if I'm not wearing anything? I'll be seen and be useless, Toru said. No, think of Mirio, you, and Ryuko. Each of them has an outfit that works with their abilities. Mirio would just be visible every time he fights, and the same goes for Ryuko and you. Your outfit would prevent you from having to walk around without clothes. I really wonder why they thought that would be a good idea. Was it laziness, incompetence, or something else? Izuku pondered. Before you all plan on taking down their world, how about we just watch part 2 of Naruto? Izuku suggested. Wait, that's the one where he throws that massive blue ball, right? Yep, that's the one. Now, are you all ready? And about the power boost, I might give you all something at the end, or I might not. I mean, don't think many villains are going to survive fighting against Izuku with AFO and OFA. Should that be all for all or one for one? Well, who cares? Let's get to watching, Truth said with a snap of his fingers. We see Izuku walking in UA with his uniform on, both hands behind his back as he whistled, trying to find Class 1A. Normally, he would have used his sensory skills, but he didn't know who was in what class. His friends hadn't told him which class they were in. While Setsuna and Bakugo were already in a classroom, he was lost. Is he mad at them or something? Kendo asked. No, he just finds it strange that they didn't tell him, someone replied. But wait, if he knows someone, can he locate them without a problem? Yes, he has chakra within himself that he can use, and everyone else has a sort of chakra as well, which he can use to sense people. So he could look for a group when lost or find someone he already knows. Yo, excuse me, do you have any idea where Class 1A is? I'm lost, believe it, Izuku said with a smirk, addressing Mirio and Nijire. Oh, you're one of the new students, right? Mirio said, but Nijire quickly moved around him. That, believe it, again, why does that sound so funny? Shiro chuckled. Izuku was confident, and his tone made it amusing. I don't know, I still think it sounds cool. Maybe a little weird, but I love the confidence, someone commented. What's your quirk? Does it have to do with those marks on your face? Are you strong? Can you fight? What was your score during the exam? Why did you say, believe it? Nijire fired off her questions rapidly. Wow, Nijire, calm down. Don't bombard the boy with your questions, Mirio interjected, trying to ease the situation. It's alright, I don't mind when cute girls ask me questions, Izuku replied with a smile. My quirk is chakra, I can use it for all sorts of cool things. These marks are part of it. I'm super strong and a decent fighter. My score was about 380, and I don't know why I say, believe it, but I do. Ha, you might be the first person to answer all of Nijire's questions, Mirio said, guiding her toward their class. For 1A, go straight, take the first right, and the second room on your left. You talk too fast, Nijire. If you want people to answer you, you should calm down first, Yu advised. I know, but I get so excited and just want to ask everything. People like Zuzu can hear me just fine, she replied, sticking her tongue out at Yu. That's quite a reason for your believe it, Mirio laughed. Izuku finally arrived at the correct class and felt a mix of irritation and surprise when he sensed Bakugo and Setsuna's presence, even though they hadn't mentioned being in the same class. He was determined to get back at them. He also noticed someone trying to hide around the corner. You should hide better, Izuku called out as he entered the room, catching everyone's attention. Wait, you were standing there, he asked, surprised. But why? Why what, Uraraka, she replied. Why decide to wait and then crawl over the floor in a sleeping bag? Izuku questioned. So you expect the unexpected, she said with a grin. Yo, Foxy, got lost on the way. Bakugo teased. Yeah, Sparky, this map is terrible, Setsuna replied, eliciting laughter from Bakugo. Ida, however, scolded them for laughing at someone who was struggling. Don't worry, it's not that. We know him, and I might have given him an altered map, Setsuna admitted. That is unacceptable. It's unbecoming of a hero student to do that sort of thing, Ida reprimanded, but he was cut off as the door opened again. Oh wow, that's perfect. Pony exclaimed, enjoying the prank. I wonder how he didn't notice it before, he doesn't seem like someone who would fall for that. I'm sure I had him all distracted, Setsuna said, flicking her hair back. Shut up and sit down. If you're here to make friends, get out, Aizawa said as he entered the room. My name is Shota Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher. He then proceeded to outline the rules and expectations. As Aizawa spoke, Izuku looked around the classroom and was pleasantly surprised to find that most of his classmates were girls. The only boys were Ida, Kirishima, Todoroki, himself, and Bakugo. He loved it, and Kurama seemed to share his excitement, radiating energy without Izuku even noticing. How lucky. I would love a class with all the girls, someone remarked. It's a bit strange, though. Normally, classes are more mixed. Izuku's godfather had attended UA and often complained about not having enough girls in his class, so Nizu had granted Izuku's wish. As the atmosphere shifted, everyone felt the weight of Kurama's aura, causing some to tremble. Midoriya, stop that, Aizawa said, noticing the change. Huh? Izuku replied, confused. Reel in that chakra, Foxy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't notice, Izuku said, quickly trying to control the energy. Your quirk. What do you mean by that, Midoriya? Aizawa asked, recalling that Izuku had a quirk involving a special type of energy. Yes, sir. My quirk is chakra, and part of it is connected to a tailed beast. The one you just saw is Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, and he got a little excited seeing so many beautiful girls in the room. You need to keep that under control. Just don't let it happen again, Aizawa instructed as he continued explaining. It's pretty funny to see that Izuku has two perverts in his life, someone joked. Yeah, normally he only has one, another added. Shortly after, they were all instructed to change into UAPE outfits and meet Aizawa outside. Everyone was dressed and excited as they approached various obstacles. Okay, listen up. It's not logical to repeat me, Aizawa said, preparing to explain the next activity. You are going to face these 8 obstacles, Aizawa announced. Kendo raised a hand, asking, but what about orientation, sir? We at UA do things our way. I don't want to waste time on such matters. We have 3 years to prepare you to become pro heroes and ensure your safety. During these tests, you will use your quirks to achieve the best possible results. Oh, we get to use our quirks. Awesome! Mina exclaimed, to which Aizawa replied, awesome, you say. Fine then. The person who places last will be expelled from UA. But that's unfair, sir. It's only the first day. Kendo protested. Unfair, you say? You know what's truly unfair? Dying on your first day as a pro. A young family caught in the middle of a villain attack. The world is unfair, and it's your job as a hero to fight against the odds and still win. That is the meaning of plus ultra. Wait, you call that logical? Truth laughed. Yes, why? Aizawa asked, raising an eyebrow. Oh, just wait. I just enjoyed watching Izuku throw that ball with only one finger and beat Bakugo by 10 centimeters, Truth said, causing laughter among the group. Oh man, it just gets better. Not only can we get lost without our quirks, but it's a competition that will bring out the best in us, Midoriya said. This isn't a game, Midoriya, Aizawa replied. Oh no, sir. It's a tactic. You wouldn't expel us today, Midoriya insisted. Oh really? Why is that? Aizawa challenged. Because you are not foolish. There are all types of heroes: rescue, search, fighting. Some of them can't use their quirks in ways that give them a power boost. Take the invisible girl, for example. She can be hard to fight against, but during these tests, she will likely score low. I know for a fact I will rank above last place. Oh, do you now? Well then, let's make a deal. If you place lower than third, you get expelled, and no one else. But if you do well, then the last place gets kicked out, Aizawa said, glaring at Izuku, who simply smirked. Oh wow, he just dismantled your logical test, Truth remarked. Wait, sir, have you ever expelled someone for that? Kendo asked. I did. One student didn't take it seriously at all and didn't care about his classmates' safety, so I expelled him immediately, Aizawa replied. But isn't that bad for his future? Kendo questioned. Not as bad as normal school expulsions, Aizawa stated, emphasizing that the stakes were different here. I'll do you one better. If I take anything but first place, I'll leave myself. But if I take the number 1 spot, you get me a date with Midnight, Izuku proposed. What? Aizawa responded, surprised. You heard me. So, is it a deal or what? Izuku pressed. Sure thing, brat. But don't think it will be easy, Aizawa warned. Izuku just smirked, and then the test began. Wow, really? You bet me like some sort of prize, Aizawa remarked. But you are a prize, you're the jackpot, Izuku replied, causing the girls to awe, and Nemuri gave Izuku a kiss, making him smile. Although I don't like the fact I was used in a bet, that made it acceptable. But Aizawa, if you ever try something like that, I will make sure you regret it, Nemuri said, cracking her knuckles. First up is the 50-meter dash. The time to beat is Tenya Ida with 3.04 seconds. Next up are Midoriya and Bakugo. Sir, quick question, can I use my quirk before the race or only when you give the mark? Izuku asked. You can use your quirk now. Why? Aizawa replied. Izuku jogged the 50 meters and placed his hand on the ground, leaving a black mark. He then ran back. I'm ready. Go. Aizawa shouted. In an instant, Izuku was at the other side in a green flash, while Bakugo took 4 seconds to finish. Oh, that is so cool. Even without being able to plant beforehand, there's no way anyone can keep up with him at 50 meters, Kendo said. Nah, I could have stood a chance, Ryuko replied, contemplating. It's you. Ochiko and Jiro screamed, while Izuku chuckled. Yep, hope you are doing okay since then, Izuku said. What are you talking about? Mina asked. Oh, this dude saved us from a massive robot. With all the dust and stuff, I didn't realize it was you, Jiro explained. You were crying just like me, Kyo, Ochako added with a playful elbow. Oh, I forgot that was us, Kyoka said. Wait, are they friends before UA? Yes, Kyoka and Ochako are friends before UA, Aizawa confirmed. Oh, that's a strange pairing, someone commented. The reason they are friends is kind of sad. Ochako was poor and faced bullying, while Kyoka was teased for her appearance. They found solace in each other, along with another friend named Sakura Haruno. In a lively setting, there was a girl named Ino Yamanaka, often seen as rude and mean, and another girl named Hinata Hyuga, who was very shy. Despite their differences, the group they belonged to was happy together. Someone wondered if they would appear later in the story, to which another replied that they would, but not just yet. A playful conversation ensued about whether Izuku would date them, leaving the answer uncertain. Izuku, showcasing his impressive grip strength, used chakra-infused power to max out the grip strength machine. Kami, intrigued, asked how he was so strong when she thought his quirk was an emitter type. Izuku winked and playfully responded that he could do all sorts of things. Kami teased him about his flirting, mentioning midnight, to which Izuku admitted he couldn't settle down with just one person. The group laughed, with Mina jokingly saying Izuku could wear her out whenever he wanted. Next came the standing long jump, where Izuku easily cleared the sandbox with a boost of chakra. He could have jumped further but chose to keep it mild. Shiro remarked on Izuku's impressive jump, while Yui expressed her curiosity about what Izuku could achieve at full power. During the repeated side steps, Izuku used the body flicker jutsu, outpacing everyone, with Bakugo being the only one close behind, using explosions to enhance his speed. Observers noted how it seemed like Izuku was making clones, marveling at his seemingly limitless chakra. When it was time for the ball throw, Izuku complimented Ochako on her quirk, causing her to blush and hide behind Jiro, who laughed at her reaction. Ochako was pleased with her previous score, which had been unbeatable, and Kendo speculated that only Izuku might match it with his full power. Bakugo stepped up next, sparking with energy as he prepared to throw the ball. He boasted about blowing away everyone's scores and, with a powerful throw accompanied by an explosion, achieved a remarkable distance. Kirishima praised him, while Momo expressed her disapproval of his language. Toya teased Bakugo about his performance, suggesting he had lost his edge without his best friend. The conversation hinted at a complicated friendship between Bakugo and Izuku, with doubts about their trust in each other. Finally, it was Izuku's turn. As he stood in a circle, his eyes shimmered with power. He threw the ball with a mighty shout of "Almighty Push," unleashing a shockwave that pushed everyone back and left a crater in the ground. Aizawa, unimpressed, insisted that Izuku should try again without holding back, to which Izuku sheepishly replied that he couldn't risk destroying UA. All Might's push is like a super move of sorts. I have some techniques like that, Izuku said. Like what? Name one that you can't use because it would cause too much destruction. Aizawa thought he was just exaggerating. Well, I guess Tengai Shinsei would be a bit much. It brings down a meteor from space. Wait, that was you? Ida asked Yaoyorozu. Oh no, what can't he do? Aizawa sighed. At the moment, he cannot fly or overpower All Might. So he isn't stronger than All Might? Ida questioned. I never said he couldn't beat him, he just can't beat him in terms of strength right now. Let me guess, he's going to be able to outmatch him in strength as well. Truth smiled, revealing a mischievous grin. About a year ago, there was a small island in South America taken over by villains. They executed all the people there, and the situation was resolved when a meteor from the sky leveled the entire island. Yeah, my godfather was asked to help when I was traveling with him, and he told me to do it. But I can do more, Aizawa groaned as he began texting Nizu. What did you do to me? Why do I get the kid who can level an island? Why do you hate me? Nizu chuckled as he sipped his tea. Nizu found amusement in the situation, enjoying the chaos he created for his employees. Messing with tired teachers dealing with overexcited kids was one of his favorite pastimes. What did he score? He didn't beat me with that low score, Bakugo exclaimed. 1,500 meters, came the reply. Seriously? Bakugo stomped his foot in frustration. I will get you next time. Sure thing, Sparky, but you don't have anything on me, Izuku teased. Just shut up. Next event, Aizawa said, contemplating how to explain to Namuri that she had a date with one of his students. Gran Torino laughed, I love how done he already is with all this. He still has to deal with it for their time at UA. If I know Nizu, he's going to let Aizawa teach them for the full 3 years. During the distance run, Izuku used his incredible stamina to outrun everyone. The only one coming close was Momo, who used skates, but Izuku outpaced her while flirting the entire time without breaking a sweat. That was a nice jog, he said at the finish line while the others were panting and covered in sweat. How can you still walk around? It's not normal, one of them asked. Like I said, I have loads of stamina. I barely get tired. Why does it feel like he's running with God mode on, someone wondered. You should see him in his prime. He could run all day. It's great because he's busy with Eri and Koda, as well as the class he teaches at UA, another replied. Oh no, I don't think a class learning how to be a second Midoriya is a good idea, AFO said, a hint of fear in his voice as he imagined facing 20 Izukus. Izuku was flexible enough to nearly fold himself in half without any issues. He had a technique he could use, but he didn't like it because the sound alone bothered him. Dislocating his bones and moving them with chakra was not something he enjoyed. When it came to the last test, push-ups, Aizawa didn't want to wait until Izuku was tired. Do I have to do push-ups, or can I make a double? Izuku asked. Sure, if that means it will go by faster, Aizawa replied. Izuku smirked. What's the world record for push-ups? The total is around 10,000 push-ups. Please don't do that many, we don't have the time. Even with 2 of you, that's still 5,000 per person. Ha, who said only 2? Izuku crossed his fingers and called out, multi-shadow clone jutsu. In a large puff of smoke, 1,000 Izukus appeared. Now we only have to do 10 each, he said cheerfully. Aizawa dropped his stuff and walked away, completely overwhelmed. Yeah, that world is lost. Burn it all, Toya muttered. He had no intention of becoming a villain when faced with someone who could summon meteors at will and create 1,000 copies of himself. Toya might be able to burn most people to ashes quickly, but he knew he couldn't do anything against a moon. Hello, Mistress Midnight, what is it you desire? Namuri asked. Hey, Nem, I have something to tell you, and you might not like it. What is it, Sho? Did you lose me in a bet or something? She joked. Yes, I did. What? Listen, there's this student, Izuku Midoriya. He made a deal with me, if he got first place, I would set up a date with you for him. So what? He barely won. No, he destroyed the test. He's the problem child Jiraiya-sensei has been working with for the past couple of years. Well, at least it's Izuku. But I wonder, I have a lot of stamina myself, would he be able to wear me out? Oh yeah, he could. Just know that he's going to bring a large group because he would tire you out if he kept doing that all the time. You'll need to take turns to be able to keep up. Jiraiya, known as the Toad Sage or Pervy Sage to Izuku and his family, was a teacher to many pro-heroes, teaching them how to sneak around and infiltrate. However, to the public, he was completely unknown. Oh, I want to see him at the USJ. That would be a fun sight to behold. Oh, you have a Nomu? Well, let him deal with this meteor, Namuri said, considering the potential chaos Izuku could cause at the USJ. So what could we watch? Sato asked eagerly. I really enjoyed the magic-themed shows. Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind something like that, Jiro replied. We had that one where Ochako was dating Izuku, who was the Demon King. I could totally go for a second part of that, Sato added. Well, you're in for a treat. That's exactly what we'll watch, Truth announced. Wait, really? So you asked, her curiosity piqued. Yep. We're going to watch Izuku as the reincarnation of the Demon King Anos Voldegode, Truth confirmed. That was the one where Izuku made everyone bow with just his aura, right? Yes, that's the one, Psycho chimed in. So, are we all ready to watch this, or is there something else you want? Oh yes. Can I sit with Papa? Eri asked excitedly. Of course, come here, Truth replied. Eri and Kota sprinted toward Izuku. Kota settled on Shino's lap, close to Izuku, while Eri went to Rei. Now, with that, let's begin, Truth said, and with a snap, the show started. At UA, things began unusually. The students had decided to skip classes entirely, with each department merging into one class. The heroics class was larger than usual, with 43 students, though 3 had yet to arrive. Hey, look, it's all of us, one student remarked, noting the absence of Izuku, Bakugo, and Ochako, along with Toga, Mei, Melissa, Shinso, Kami, and Psycho. What am I doing here? Melissa asked, puzzled. Well, since everyone has magic, quirkless individuals don't exist. You wanted to be a royal knight, and that's why you're here, Truth explained, and the others nodded in understanding. Mei found it odd but didn't mind too much. Sir, when will the other students arrive? It's quite disrespectful for royal knights in training to be absent for an entire week, Ida inquired, repeating his question from earlier in the week. As I've said before, they will show up. If I'm correct, they should arrive today, but we can't force them to come, Aizawa replied. Even he and Nemuri, with All Might's assistance, couldn't even touch Izuku, not that they would want to. I know he's strong, but he can't be that strong, can he? I mean, it's All Might, Bubble Girl questioned. Oh, he can. Believe me, Izuku could take down All Might without magic. It said he could destroy universes with just his fists. While I admire All Might, he wouldn't stand a chance, Truth said simply. Sir, who are they? You haven't told us anything, Toga pressed. These 3 students have had the highest scores we've seen. The weakest among them scored 48-26, and the second strongest scored 56-90, Truth explained. Sir, you must be joking. Those scores are impossible for students, Kaibara said, incredulous. He himself had a score of 14-10, thanks to his magic drill. Wait, wouldn't we also get a power boost from Izuku, like he has given to his family? Another student asked. Some of you do get a boost. I don't know who exactly, but some of you will see a significant increase. From what I remember, Shinso could control people with just a touch instead of only through conversation, Truth said with a shrug. I'm not joking, Kaibara. It's a fact. I believe they're already waiting for us. We're going to move toward a special area on the side of the demon forest. We'll first take a 30-minute cart trip, then we'll have to run the other 30 minutes ourselves. So let's get moving, Aizawa instructed as he led the way. When they arrived, they were greeted by 3 students who looked their age. One sat on a stone throne, another perched on the lap of the first, and the third leaned casually against a tree. Oh look, Izuku, they have arrived. How fun, Ochako said as she got up from Izuku's lap. Ah, you must be our classmates. It's nice to meet you, but it's also quite disrespectful to us, our teachers, and the entire UA for you to be a weak. Late, Ida stated, with Bakugo nearly losing his temper if not for Izuku's laughter. Bakugo is like a guard dog in this universe, it's pretty funny, Sato remarked to Bakugo, who just scoffed. Hey, Truth, when will everyone become aware of Midoriya? I'm assuming we're not, judging by our reactions to them, Psycho asked. That's correct. None of them know yet, but the information will really get out during the sports festival, Truth replied. That was my fault, I apologize. I meant no disrespect. We were just having trouble moving our home, one of the new students explained. They could easily uproot their house, but Ochiko wanted to wait until the night before to move it, as UA wanted to create a good spot for them. He can just uproot a house like that, someone commented. Of course. There's no one stronger. If he really went all out, nothing would remain standing. I don't think many could stand against him in a fight simply because he's so powerful. Like that one time he fought a death god, who stabbed him with a massive sword, but he just got up and said, "Did you think killing me would kill me?" Truth said, causing laughter among the group. With the help of the Royal Knight team known as the Royal Cats, they cleared a large area. And with that, they were able to move in, but it took a full week. Mina expressed her concern for Izuku, questioning if he truly belonged there, as he didn't seem very strong and might get hurt. Izuku, with a gentle smile, was prompted by Momo to release the full extent of his aura. He complied, letting it flow without force. Momo sighed in relief, noting that if well-trained royal knights had to kneel at 15%, they would surely be overwhelmed at 100%. She reflected on how even at his current level, Izuku's aura was still not at its full potential, which could be too much for the world to handle. They speculated whether he could use his aura to deflect magic attacks, to which Trush responded that magic wouldn't affect him. Kaminari, taken aback, remarked on the sheer size of Izuku's aura, comparing it to All Might's. Momo, who came from a long line of royal knights, was astonished, having always believed that the auras of knights like All Might were the most intimidating. Rumi commented on the brilliance of Izuku's aura, suggesting they would always know where he was because of its intensity. Ibra asked about the feeling of standing before such power, and Izuku described it as insignificant yet warm, making one feel capable of taking on the world. Despite the overwhelming display of power, Aizawa reminded them that they had work to do, and they proceeded to their lesson. As they walked in silence, a bit intimidated by their new classmates, they arrived at a small building. Nana greeted them as she stepped outside, accompanied by Shigaraki, who looked healthy and happy, and Toya. Izuku noticed the sadness in Nana's eyes and assured her that Shigaraki would be going home with them. Kirishima expressed determination to help, flexing his bicep, while Todoroki emphasized the importance of friendship in overcoming darkness. This sentiment brought tears to Izuku and Nana's eyes. Before they could discuss the day's agenda, an army of black soldiers appeared, each adorned with a single horn. The leader, who had 2 horns, declared that Izuku Midoriya was to be executed for taking a forbidden name. Ibra commented on the irony of their unholy appearance, while Nana explained that the so-called Holy King was not to be trusted. Ibra felt conflicted, knowing Izuku was kind but struggling with the label of a demon. Bakugo, fueled by rage, demanded the soldiers repeat their accusation, his aura flaring as sparks flew from his hands. Ochiko, equally upset, caused rocks to levitate around her. The 4 teachers stepped forward, ready to defend their students, equally furious at the situation. "Oh, that gives me scary mom vibes," Mina said, laughing alongside Truth. "That is pretty accurate. To be honest, in this world, Ochiko has been talking about getting a baby." Koda's eyes widened. "Oh, does that mean I am getting a baby sister or brother?" he asked, though no one seemed to think that was the case. "Yep, that is the case," came the reply. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed, "Bring forth Izuku Midoriya for execution, now or else on order of Holy King Zeldris you will all be put to death." "You wish to kill me?" Izuku said, unfazed by the threat. "Please let me handle them, the pure disrespect of them still breathing should not be allowed," someone urged. "We will handle things, please," came the response. "Sure, I don't want to deal with them," Izuku said as he sat down on a new stone throne. The other students were beyond confused, but for some of them, it started to slowly make sense. So someone told this holy king about Izuku taking the name of Anas Voldigode, and instead of allowing him to take his spot at the top, they send a full army to kill him, one student explained. It does seem like that is the case. But sadly, that is the case in all worlds. When I took a leave of absence from my enterprise to heal after a scuffle with someone, a couple of employees tried taking over, and that required me to act, AFO said with a chuckle. I ain't sitting back, I am helping, Bakugo declared as he cracked his knuckles. Oka, come, let's enjoy the show. Ochako then moved on to Izuku's lap. You're lucky they are here, or else I would not do cuddles, she said with a pout. Cute, Izuku replied, noticing Ochiko's expression. Eri hugged Ochako as she saw her mama pout. Don't be mad like her mama, Eri said. How could I be mad when you're hugging me? Ochako responded, hugging back and making Eri giggle, a sound that was irresistibly cute. You royal knights, get out of the way so we can eliminate that criminal who spoke the name of the Forbidden One. You must know that falsely claiming that name is a sentence only justified with death. But who said it was ever false, came a voice. That does not matter. The Holy King Zeldris wants that impostor dead, and we will carry that out. Now, squad, kill that boy. They really don't care that he is the more deadly and strongest and the reason they have magic, Ryuko said, resting her chin on her hand in thought. Real idiot if you think about it. I mean, they should have been able to see that aura, so why would they still try and mess with him? Rumi added, sipping her carrot smoothie. The royal knights moved forward, shields raised. Toya, cover flames, one commanded. Flame magic, cremation wall. A blue wall of flames surged forward, concealing Shigaraki. Air magic, tempest storm. A large wave of wind blew the blue fire apart, revealing Shigaraki, but it was already too late. Decay magic, withering touch. Shigaraki touched two people in the chest, and they slowly began to disintegrate. However, two knights behind them moved their spears forward, trying to stab him in the chest, only for the spears to break as Nana used her floating magic to jump in between them. Oh wow, they are working together perfectly. That is so cool, Himiko said, cooing. Though she might not have been the same person she was before, she still cared for her friends, and Toya was one of them. Shigaraki was even more important to her, especially if he was being controlled by an evil doctor. She joined the fray, wielding a short sword and a buckler shield. Aizawa also jumped into action, wrapping his scarf around one of the knights' heads, pulling him down, and using him as a step to land a spinning heel kick. Against another knight's tower shield. Only for Bakugo to land a powerful punch right on his opponent's face, sending shockwaves through the air. They are great fighters in their own right, but they work perfectly together. It's a beautiful sight to behold, Rumi remarked, reflecting on the teamwork displayed. She often wished more people could collaborate as effectively, as many teammates were difficult to work with unless a plan was established beforehand. The battle commenced, with Izuku and Ochako observing from a distance. Hey Izuku, how about taking her as your own? She is rather strong, one of their classmates suggested. Kendo, confused, interjected, excuse me, but what is going on? Wait, take her as his own. Does she mean a harem? Another student chimed in. It was true that Izuku preferred to focus on Ochako, but she had an interest in multiple relationships. As a king, he deserves something unique, like a harem of strong, beautiful women, another classmate added. Izuku, feeling the weight of expectations, declared, oh, it's rather clear, Izuku Midoriya, am the demon king Anos Voldigode, and now some false king tries to stop me from claiming my rightful place at the top of the world. Dude, are you okay? You might be strong, but you don't even look like a demon king, Ojiro responded, surprised by Izuku's proclamation. What should the demon king look like? Izuku challenged, curious about the expectations. Ojiro explained, well, as the story goes, a monstrous oni as big as an oak tree, with large horns and a tail, breathing fire and eating versions. Oh, he devours versions alright, Ochako joked, lightening the mood. Well, that is not me. I've always looked like this, but you can ask them when they're done, Izuku replied, gesturing toward the ongoing battle. As they turned their attention back, they saw their teammates standing over the defeated knights, with the leader still alive but captured by Nana. "We thought you might want to talk with him," she said, dragging the leader toward Izuku. "Thank you, that would be good. Might as well find out who was spreading rumors," Izuku said, moving closer to the man. "Well, we've seen one of them before, the massive dragon," a classmate recalled. "Oh yeah, that's right. He had horns and could breathe fire," another added. "But no tail though," Ochako remarked, enjoying the banter. "This is fun," Mina said, sharing a laugh with Ochako. "Well, let's see what else we can watch," Ochako suggested, eager for more excitement. As the scene shifted, the group prepared for the next phase of their adventure, eager to uncover more mysteries and challenges ahead. "What will we be watching next, Truth?" Melissa asked as she stood up to stretch her back, feeling a satisfying crack as she did so. "I'm not really sure yet." "Why, got something better to do?" Truth joked. "Got any requests or something?" Truth continued. "I mean, I liked the part 2s. Maybe something like that? Like that Izuku who is unkillable had something cool happen, right?" "That's right, but if you want part 2s, I think this would be nice. It's part 2 of the Straw Hats, so massive Izuku, you know." "Oh, the one where his dad was that guy with the weird mustache, right?" "Yep, that one. So let's start it." With a snap, the screen began, but Truth snapped his fingers again. "What is wrong?" someone asked. "It's the wrong part." "What?" "It's like part 3 or 4, but no matter what I try, part 2 doesn't want to come out at all." "So what do we do now?" Mina asked, unsure. "You do nothing. I will have to make a call." Truth made a phone gesture with his hand, putting it to his ear as if joking. "Hey, I'm having trouble getting Straw Hats Part 2 out," he said, waiting for a moment. "Yes, where they go to Fishman Island." "No, I didn't do it incorrectly." "What are you talking about?" "No, I didn't." "Yes, correct." "Oh, then what use are you?" Truth hung up with a huff. "Truth, what was that?" "Oh yeah, I went to ask the Multiverse support panel and told them I was having trouble getting the correct part, and they blamed me like I was doing something wrong. But there is static with that part, so if we want to watch it, we will have to come back later." Everyone was kind of shocked. It felt like for the gods, this was nothing more than cable or something. "But are you not like a god?" "Yes, I am a god to you, but here being a god is like a norm. So I am plain. It's like you don't know how to fix your TV right, same here." Truth said to Mina, who nodded while feeling completely bewildered. "So what is going on then?" "If we are skipping a whole area, I would like some info," Mitsuki asked, with everyone agreeing. If they were watching something, they would prefer to have most, if not all, the information needed to understand what they were watching. "Sure." Due to some circumstances, some of the crew parted ways after reaching an island. They would meet up again, but before they could, they encountered one of Big Mom's crewmates. They used the threat to get Sanji, their cook, to come with them to get married. Luffy, the captain, was not having any of it and went into Big Mom's territory with Izuku and some of the others to get him back while the others continued with their original plan. "And we are picking up in the middle of that." Truth explained, and everyone nodded. "But who is Big Mom?" "She is one of the 4 strongest pirate crews, like Whitebeard, Izuku's father in this universe." They saw Izuku chained up on a chair surrounded by pirates, all with food-related items. Izuku knew he was surrounded by Big Mom's pirates. Big Mom was a Yonko, a ruler of the sea, much like his late father, Edward Newgate, Whitebeard. Most people would never want to be in his position because the Big Mom pirates were dangerous. Thankfully, Izuku isn't normal. I mean, look at him, he looks even bigger than before. Yeah, now that he is back with his crew, he is getting even stronger than before. Plus, with what Sanji learned, he has been putting on mass even more than before now. I didn't think he was getting bigger, but then again, if I remember correctly, he isn't bigger than his father, Inko said. But for Izuku, this was perfect, as Big Mom had one of his crewmates, Sanji. Izuku was determined to get him back. Of course, he wasn't alone on the island, his captain and some of his other crewmates were also there, but they were hiding as the plan instructed. "We already know this," Bubble Girl said. "Yeah, I know, but you wanted to know what was happening, so I told you. No crying about it now. Still, look how many people are around him, all with weapons. How is he not worried?" Kaminari said. "He just built different," Truth joked. In front of him sat Smoothie, one of the 3 sweet commanders. She was tall, standing at 4.64 meters, which was only around 35 centimeters shorter than Izuku, who had grown to 5 meters instead of his previous 4 meters. "DMN, she is impressive," Emmy said, not expecting her to hold Izuku hostage. "She has really long legs." "Yeah, she is part of the long leg tribe." "Dude, you don't have to make fun of me, it was just an observation." "No, I wasn't making fun of you. In that world, there is a group of people with long legs called the long leg tribe. You also have the long arm tribe and people with 3 eyes. There are all types of people," Truth said, with Kaminari half believing him. "You will marry me and join the Big Mom pirates," she said, with Izuku just chuckling. "Don't get me wrong, lady. You are very good looking, and I would have no problem marrying you, but I am already in a relationship. So it's kind of up to them if you join in. But I'm definitely not leaving the Straw Hat Pirates." "Oh please, you are chained up, you are stuck. You will do as we say." Izuku broke the chains as if they were made of paper and lifted her by the neck. "No, I do what I want. I was being a gentleman by sitting and talking, but do not forget who the boss is," he said, bringing her closer to his face. She tried to get lost in his grip, but he was not seen as a threat for no reason. "Oh, that is so manly," Kirishima exclaimed as he watched Izuku break the chains. "DMN, he is just growing a harem or something," Nemuri joked. "But how did he just break those chains like that? Is he really that strong?" "Oh, he is. Just wait until you find out how he trains." Izuku then let her go and sat back down. The Big Mom pirates around them were terrified. They were there to fight him if necessary, but Smoothie was their big gun at the moment, and she had just been shown who was really in charge. "Now, if you want, we can go back to talking, or I can put your head on the floor, stamp all the others, and walk off. Up to you." He said the last part slowly, with Smoothie sitting down, not looking scared, but she had basically no choice. So he has the strength to walk through all of them but holds off just because he is a gentleman. How manly. A true example of how a true man should behave. Kirishima and Tetsu shouted as they embraced each other in a manly manner while the others just laughed at their oddness. Izuku had just shown that she wasn't a challenge to him, which was quite a shock to her. His bounty was just 400 million after what happened at Dressrosa, while her bounty was more than double his at 932 million, supposedly even bigger than her captain's bounty of 500 million. So those bounties are like a sign of power or something? Sir Knight, I asked. Sort of. It's like a threat to the world government. Luffy attacked all 3 of their locations and received a 500 million bounty, but most take it as a strong indicator. So yeah, you can count on the bounty to show how strong people are, but it has nothing to do with strength and more with how annoying they are to the world government. Basically, high bounties also mean a lot of power. So Smoothie, do you wish to marry me, or is it Big Mom that wants it? Why? Well, because I wonder if you will join me willingly or if it's just your mother's order. Join you? Yes, if you want to marry me, you should join the Straw Hats, at least if the captain is okay with it. But he never minds more friends. It was my choice. Mother always spoke about her time with Whitebeard, and you seem like a good man. Fine. Please find me after I get our crewmate back. I am sure you will enjoy it. What? You can't leave. I am still your captive. She stood up, sword drawn, as the other minions also lifted their weapons. Izuku laughed out loud. You should not lift a weapon to your future husband. He grabbed her face. I am going to get my crewmate. You can either stand back like a good wife and wait for your future husband or stand in my way and find out why not even Island stand a chance against that. She lowered her sword and cursed herself and her family. They should have asked Katakuri to be there, but then again, he might not have stood a chance himself. Who is that Katakuri? He is the strongest member beside Big Mom herself. So who is stronger, Izuku or that Katakuri? Well, in terms of power, it would be Izuku without a doubt. But Katakuri has super strong haki, so if Izuku could hold out until he finds out himself, then Izuku would win. It was really a toss-up due to the haki. Without haki, Katakuri would be defeated easily. The minions, however, stood up. You will not leave. Izuku didn't even use his devil fruit. He just defeated them all without breaking a sweat. These minions were nothing. Izuku might not be the captain of the Straw Hats, but he was most likely the strongest fighter they had. He moved through the entire castle he was in, looking for his weapon. Is he? Yeah, kind of. Izuku has the most destructive capabilities of his crew and the most strength. His captain is more durable, but both fight stronger and harder if it is for their friends. And seeing that they are friends, they can't really go full out. But can he really destroy islands? He can. His nickname is Island Destroyer, as he has destroyed islands where the Marines were hiding. There, Izuku met someone. Sure, it wasn't someone that could win against him, but without his weapon, it was something he hadn't done for a while. Before his time with the Whitebeard pirates, he was just a brawler. He trained by lifting houses and boats, punching mountains, and fighting anyone who called themselves strong. He fought sea kings and sea beasts to provide food for the villages and earn money for himself. But during the 2 years with the Whitebeard pirates, he focused on fighting with his weapon and training for more strength. Instead of just boats, he started lifting ships filled with people, and instead of houses, he lifted castles. Instead of just punching mountains, he had to punch mountains to dust. That is incredible. Look at what he is lifting. That is a full ship, not a boat but a ship with people inside. Mitsuki said, gripping Masaru's hand tightly while Masaru, without showing pain, tried to calm his wife. Truth was laughing at the sight of all the open mouths as they watched Izuku punch a mountain to dust. So him fighting Charlotte Daifuku, a man standing at 4.89 meters, was something else. Sure, Smoothie was strong, but she fought with her sword most of the time. Now, fighting someone who was essentially 2-on-1 was different. But Izuku powered through without a problem. The fight ended when Izuku got both his hands on Daifuku's head and pressed. He didn't die, but the force was enough to knock him out. Shortly after Izuku found his weapon, he set off to chase after Sanji. All Might expressed his surprise, recalling a time he had to use similar tactics against a villain in America who could absorb blunt force. The situation quickly escalated when Luffy managed to defeat Katakuri, but Big Mom stood in their way. Now, Luffy, Izuku, and Jinbe found themselves between the Thousand Sunny and Big Mom, while Smoothie and the rest of the Straw Hats watched from the ship. Namiri commented on the situation, noting the irony of Izuku's love interest being on their side while they fought against her family. Luffy insisted he wouldn't abandon his friends, even as Jinbe encouraged him to trust that they would reunite. After some back and forth, Luffy agreed to meet them in Wano, and Izuku expressed his commitment to support Luffy in their shared dreams. As they faced Big Mom, Kami remarked on her intimidating size, while Ida expressed his hope for Izuku to defeat her and continue his journey with his friends. Izuku and Jinbe discussed a plan to deal with the fleet, with Izuku determined to hold back Big Mom until his friends were safe. He charged forward, infusing his weapon with haki and his devil fruit powers. Pixie Bob cheered for Izuku, confident in his strength, while Kamakiri acknowledged the challenge Big Mom posed. The clash favored Izuku, who knew he had the advantage in strength, even if Big Mom was formidable. Despite being knocked back, he remarked on her strength, and she acknowledged his tenacity. Their battle continued, with Izuku landing a cut on Big Mom, signaling that this would not be an easy fight for either of them. As they exchanged blows, Big Mom taunted him, suggesting he could have been stronger through marriage, but Izuku remained unfazed. He joked about her powerful left hand, while Emi laughed at the exchange. Despite the pain from their confrontation, Izuku stood up, ready to continue the fight as Big Mom unleashed her devil fruit powers. Izuku responded with a determined attack, cutting her arm and drawing blood. Izuku took advantage of the downtime to pick up a rock and throw it at one of the ships, causing it to sink. Just then, Big Mom's open palm struck him down, delivering several blows before Jinbe intervened with fishman karate, creating some distance. The straw hats are out. My men can escape. Now it's our turn, Jinbe declared. Let's go, but first. Izuku said, grabbing his weapon with both hands. He infused it with as much of his devil fruit power as he could muster and swung it like a baseball bat, demolishing the island they were on and attacking the rest of Big Mom's fleet. Jinbe quickly grabbed him, swimming away with the help of his crew. DMN, islands really don't stand a chance against him, do they? One of the crew members remarked. Nope, they don't. But he will get even stronger. How much stronger can he get? Another asked. Well, his father was said to be able to destroy the world if he wished, so Izuku will reach that level, maybe even beyond. That was impressive. It's a shame part 2 wasn't ready, but it will be out someday, right? Someone commented. Yep, just have to wait a little bit, Truth replied as he switched his chair for a super comfortable massage chair with heating. Let me check for a new world. The next chapter could go in two directions. One could be a Halloween chapter, featuring a scary story and a Halloween party at UA where everyone is vying for Izuku's attention, or it could be a random chapter, depending on how much I can write. I've been feeling really mentally drained lately, the author mentioned. I spoke with my doctor yesterday, so my writing might be a bit shaky for now, but hopefully, it will improve soon. How about a scary story? Are you all okay with that? Truth asked. Inko looked unsure, as she wasn't great with scary tales. Well, in our world, it's nearly Halloween, so I thought it would be fun, he continued. Yeah, let's do it. It gives us more chances to snuggle with Izuku, someone chimed in. They all agreed, and Truth snapped his fingers to begin the scary story. They found themselves following Achiko, who was driving an old Toyota through a forest. It was early morning, and the lights on the road weren't on yet. She was on a week-long vacation, having used her part-time job earnings to book a stay at a lodge. Oh no, why me? Why am I going to a scary lodge? Achiko lamented. While she enjoyed watching scary movies and visiting haunted houses, she wasn't thrilled about spending a week in a spooky forest cabin. The lodge's owners rarely used it and had listed it at a low price to earn some extra cash, despite their own frightening experiences there. Ignoring the unsettling reviews, Achiko went ahead and booked the stay, excited about the prospect of a cozy week in the snow. If it weren't for the Halloween theme, I would love to be in her position. That sounds amazing, Setsuna remarked, imagining a warm cabin with a fireplace and hot cocoa. As Achiko drove, she looked forward to a week of relaxation, especially after the stress of college classes and her job as a waitress. Upon arriving at the lodge, she was pleasantly surprised by its condition, expecting it to be a dump for the price she paid. The first day was spent settling in, and she enjoyed the spacious, welcoming atmosphere. The kitchen was nearly perfect, and she prepared a nice meal, even taking a walk around the area. However, as night fell, she decided to make dinner. While walking through the living room, she glanced out the window and thought she saw someone. Startled, she turned back, but there was nothing there. Just a trick of the mind. I shouldn't have read those silly reviews, she reassured herself, returning to her cooking. I would leave right then and there. No way I'm sleeping there, Mina exclaimed, hiding under Izuku's arm. While she enjoyed scary movies, she preferred to watch them while snuggled up next to him. Later, Ochako went to bed on the second floor at the back of the house. Unfortunately, there was no balcony to gaze at the stars, but she could still look out the window at the road. As she tried to sleep, she began to hear a loud knocking, startling her. She felt a sense of unease as she heard a steady knocking sound every few seconds. It frightened her, but she convinced herself it was just a tree hitting the wall, a trick of her imagination fueled by unsettling reviews she had read. Kaminari commented on how he would have burned the house down after seeing a strange figure in the window. Bakugo, dismissing the idea of fear, claimed he could handle any threat, believing he could win a fight against whatever was haunting the place. Despite her fears, she managed to fall asleep, but the next morning, she ventured outside to investigate. To her confusion, there was no tree nearby that could have caused the knocking, and the snow around the house was untouched. It seemed it had all been in her head. That day passed without incident. However, on Wednesday night, things took a turn. She heard her name being called, accompanied by the same knocking, echoing around the house. Terrified, she grabbed a knife and returned to her bed, paralyzed with fear. The knocking ceased, but the haunting sound of her name lingered, fading toward the road. Stay in bed with the knife, she told herself, trying to calm her racing heart. The threat can't reach you if you don't move. Yet doubt crept in as she wondered if it was a ghost or something else entirely. Her friends' confidence began to wane as they realized the situation was more serious than they had initially thought. Gathering her courage, she approached the window and peeked outside. What she saw made her drop the knife in shock. A figure dressed in black with a white mask stood in the snow, waving at her, yet there were no footprints leading to that spot. The sight terrified some of her friends, prompting screams of fear. She looked again, and the figure remained, still waving. In a panic, she retreated to her bed, clutching the knife until dawn. When morning came, she rushed outside in her pajamas, but to her disbelief, there was no sign of the figure or any footprints in the snow. The experience left her shaken, and she convinced herself it was just her imagination running wild. She closed all the windows and curtains, trying to focus on reading, but the silence only heightened her anxiety. She refused to move without her knife in hand. Why is she still there? Is she crazy? Toga exclaimed, unable to look away. Truth chuckled, noting that Ochako was simply trying to avoid wasting money by staying in the house. That night, exhaustion took over, and she fell asleep despite her efforts to stay awake. When she finally woke up, she felt rested enough for her journey home. After a quick breakfast, she packed her bags and left, eager to escape the house. As she drove away, she thought she caught a glimpse of the same black figure with the white mask, but she dismissed it and continued on her way. Upon returning home, she opened her bag to find a shocking sight, the same white mask with red eyes and numerous pictures of her sleeping, each featuring the black figure from her nights at the lodge. The atmosphere was tense as her friends processed the chilling story. While some remained unfazed, others were clearly shaken. It was a gripping tale, though they would have preferred to experience it without the fear it invoked. Now this one isn't scary, it's more fun and playful, so I hope you enjoy it, Truth announced. Mina, feeling uncomfortable, requested a change of clothes, and with a snap of his fingers, her outfit transformed. With another snap, the story continued. The scene shifted to Class 1A, now third-year students at UA, gathered in the gym alongside Class 1B. They looked slightly older, with some, like Kaminari and Mineta, sporting new facial hair. Dressed in costumes for the Halloween party, they were excited, though one beloved friend was notably absent. Mina called out to Kirishima, asking if he had seen Midoriya. She was dressed as a devil, complete with a bright red suit and trident. Kirishima, dressed as a cheerleader, replied that Midoriya had gone to pick up Eri and Kota, as well as his own costume. They had made a bet with Bakugo and lost. Bakugo, dressed as a British chef, had been yelling, "It's bloody raw. Where is the lamb sauce, in a British accent multiple times since the party started about 10 minutes ago. Laughter filled the room as Kirishima, Shiro, and Kaminari joined in, enjoying the spectacle of Bakugo. "You look great, Mina," Izuku said, making Mina beam with happiness. "I can always dress up for you back home if you'd like," she teased. "Do you know what he's going as?" Toru, dressed as a ghost, asked. Below her sheet, she was cleverly hiding her outfit to surprise unsuspecting guests. "Nah, he was very secretive about that. I tried asking," Ojiro replied, wearing a kangaroo suit. "Why do you girls want to impress your crushes?" Mineta, dressed as a pumpkin, chimed in. Over the years at UA, Mineta had transformed from a notorious pervert to someone who embraced his true self after coming out as gay, which improved his relationships with his classmates. They all laughed at the memory of his revelation, not to mock him but to celebrate his journey. Kyoka, blushing and trying to hide behind her coat, was dressed as a wolf girl. Her outfit was designed to catch Izuku's attention, with strategically placed rips. "Hey, I can admit that if Midoriya was gay, I would ask him out. But he's straight, so what's your excuse?" Mineta said, prompting laughter from the boys while Kyoka sought refuge behind Momo, who was dressed as a mummy with a playful twist. "DMN, you two look amazing," Kami commented, admiring Momo's outfit. "What do you think, Izuku?" Emi encouraged him. "Both look super beautiful," he replied, feeling a bit flustered. "It's okay, Kyo. They don't know what they're talking about," Achiko said, approaching Kyoka with her broom as she dressed as a witch. "It's pretty obvious that you all have a crush on Midoriya," Shoji noted, dressed as a squid, with Koda, dressed as the Easter Bunny, nodding in agreement. "While I don't wish to speculate about my friend's feelings, it's clear that you all hold Midoriya in a special place in your hearts," Ida said, moving robotically in his costume. Just then, Todoroki walked in, and everyone turned to him. "Todoroki, why are you in a macaroni noodle costume?" someone asked. "Because I'm a Todoroni," he replied with a straight face, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Emi was on the floor laughing, struggling to hold it together, while others joined in the fun. The atmosphere was light and joyful, especially when the doors burst open, revealing 4 ex-students and a familiar face from their time at 1A. Mirio and Tamaki were dressed as Mario and Luigi, while Nijire, Yu, and Karakoko were dressed as an old hero team from America called the Powerpuff Girls. "Hey everyone, it's me, Mirio," he exclaimed in character. "Where is Midoriya? He told me Eri and Koda were wearing matching costumes, and I wanted to see." "Ah man, we wanted to show our costumes to him," Nijire said without shame, causing the others to blush. Mirio just chuckled, while Tokoyami, dressed as a chicken, shook his head in disbelief. Laughter continued to fill the room, especially when Dark Shadow made chicken sounds, making it hard for some to see through their tears of joy. The group from Class 3B mingled with everyone, each person showcasing their unique costumes. Mina commented on Shinso and Reiko's couple costume, making them blush as they held hands. The guys joked about their costumes and how they might dress up like that in the real world for the next Halloween. The girls also had fun with their outfits, with Kendo dressing as Mitzi and Kodai as a cat girl, complete with ears, whiskers, and a collar that said, "Kitty." Each costume added to the festive spirit of the night. Komori was dressed as a nurse, her costume playful and eye-catching. Next to her stood Ibra, who had chosen a costume inspired by a classic American villain turned hero, wearing a swimsuit made from leaves. Pony was dressed as a character known as Cowlady, and Setsuna had opted for a nurse outfit that was quite striking. Izuku couldn't help but admire the creative outfits of his friends as he watched them on screen. He found himself captivated, realizing he might have a newfound appreciation for cosplay. "Midoriya still nowhere to be seen, huh?" Kendo asked Momo, as the girls exchanged glances, each aware of what the others were thinking. "Why do you want to know?" Mina replied, a hint of challenge in her tone. May entered, dressed as Winry Rock Bell, and Melissa Shield accompanied her, dressed as Dr. Frankenstein. "You like anime?" Pony asked May, who responded enthusiastically, saying she watched it from time to time, especially when Power Loader kicked her out. The prospect of bonding over anime excited Pony. The group included Toga, who had turned her life around after the overhaul incident and was now training to be a nurse at UA. She wore a nurse's outfit, while Cammy, who joined UA in her second year, was dressed as a succubus. Psycho completed the trio, dressed as a regular doctor. "I like your outfits," Namuri commented, and Izuku nodded in agreement. The costumes were impressive, even Cammy's self-made outfit looked stunning. Nizu, observing the scene, noted that while the costumes might be unconventional for a school party, they were all adults and he would never judge their choices. Nearby, some teachers were gathered. Aizawa had wrapped his scarf around his head, creating a mummy look, while present Mike was in the DJ booth, sporting an old boombox as a head. They chatted with guests, including the Wild Pussycats, Ryukyu, Mirko, and Empty Lady. Mirko, dressed as a playful bunny, expressed her eagerness to spar with Izuku when he arrived. "Where are Namuri and Midoriya?" "I wanted to see if I could spar with him," Mirko said, while Ryukyu giggled beside her in her angel costume. Empty Lady, dressed as a teacher, found humor in the situation, and Mandalay mentioned that Izuku was on his way. Nijire complimented you on her outfit, suggesting she might consider teaching, to which you playfully replied that the look was just for Izuku. "Oh my, you're using his first name. How close are you with him?" Ryuko teased. Shinso blushed, explaining that Kota saw Izuku as a father figure, and with the playdates between Eri and Kota, he didn't mind the connection. Just then, Namuri entered, dressed in a playful schoolgirl outfit, alongside Emi, who wore a similar costume. Kaminari, feeling envious, remarked on the impressive group of friends Izuku had, noting how many admired Midnight, especially in her current outfit. "Hey, have you seen Midoriya today?" someone asked. They discussed how he was changing into his costume and would arrive soon. There was also mention of a clothing mix-up involving Fuyumi's mother, which led to some laughter. Fuyumi and Rei then entered, Fuyumi in a witch costume and Rei dressed as Elsa from a popular movie, though her outfit had a playful twist. Toya nearly choked on his drink, laughing at the situation, while others shared stories about their past experiences. After some light conversation, the groups naturally split into girls and boys. The boys discussed potential plans for after the party, while the girls exchanged thoughts about their feelings for Izuku, each with their own perspective but without directly stating their intentions. Then the door opened, revealing Izuku. Eri and Kota were dressed in matching outfits, complete with bright red shoes, Deku suits, gloves, and mouthpieces. Izuku, however, stood out in an animal-themed costume that resembled a caveman, which made the girls gasp and the guys laugh. Inko exclaimed in excitement, snapping pictures of Eri and Kota with her phone, and soon, all the girls joined in, capturing the moment. As Izuku entered the party, he chuckled and greeted everyone. It was a Friday evening, and Eri and Kota were allowed to stay up late. The trio quickly mingled, showing off their costumes and well-practiced moves. Mirio jokingly lamented that Eri hadn't dressed as him, but she promised to do so next year, which made them both laugh. Izuku was soon surrounded by admirers, a common occurrence given his popularity as a hero in training. He had nearly taken the top spot from Mirio, though neither of them cared much about rankings. Izuku's main concern was ensuring Eri and Kota were happy. Stain commented on Izuku's heroism, surprising some who had forgotten he was there. Kirishima noted that while rankings didn't matter much, it was nice to know how others viewed them. Rumi expressed pride in her rank, emphasizing its reflection of her strength. The girls continued to surround Izuku, playfully admiring his physique. Namuri, Mina, and Setsuna were particularly bold in their admiration. Izuku admitted he hadn't expected to wear something so daring, joking about a social media poll that led to his costume choice. He planned to dress as a skeleton for trick-or-treating instead, wanting to avoid distracting too many kids. Emi made a light-hearted joke about Izuku's charm, which led to laughter among their friends. Kaminari chimed in with a cheeky comment that earned him a playful reprimand from Nana, who was amused by the banter. Uraraka approached Izuku, nervously asking him to dance. He graciously accepted, taking her hand and leading her to the dance floor. Namiri encouraged present Mike to play a slower song so they could enjoy a slow dance. Namiri understood Izuku's feelings for the girls but knew his kind nature often held him back from pursuing any one of them. She devised a plan to encourage the girls to agree on forming a harem for him, believing it would be a fun solution. Izuku chuckled at the idea, recalling the times he had experimented with various quirks, even joking about having a quirk that allowed him to control ducks. He was aware of the online fandom that adored him, with many claiming to be part of his harem, seeing him as a figure of admiration for his incredible feats. However, he hesitated to bring up the topic, unsure how it would be received. So she acted smart, and today her plan would work perfectly. Over the week, she had frequently mentioned the word harem while being near the girls. It might have been a little manipulative, but it was for the greater good, she just wanted them to be happy. I would appreciate it if that had meant we would have dated before, Achiko said with a sigh, recalling how long she had tried to suppress her feelings to focus on her hero career and create a good life. Hey, I have an idea, but it might sound strange, Momo said, looking enviously at Achiko, who had her head on Izuku's shoulder, both of his hands on her hip holding her close as they swayed side to side. What is it, Yamamoto? Setsuna asked, also glancing at Achiko. Well, what if we all dated Izuku? Huh? I must have misheard you, Kyoka said, using her pinky to clear her ear. What if we dated him together? Like all of us dating him at the same time. Oh, a harem. I love that. Let's do that. Pony exclaimed, turning very excited, ready to jump at Izuku right then and there. How would we even do that? Fuyumi asked. I might know, Namiri said. The girls then whispered their idea to Achiko, who blushed and excused herself from Izuku, who went ahead and danced with Eri and Kota. The song turned upbeat, and the dancing became silly as some of the guys joined in while the girls created rules for the harem. Their plan was complete just as Izuku brought Eri and Kota to bed. Both of them were knocked out, sleeping on one of the couches in the gym. But it was time for their plan. It took a little longer as Eri woke up midway and asked for a story. I like when Papa tells me stories, Eri said, and Izuku couldn't help but smile at the sight of her happy face. Whenever you want a story, I will tell you whatever story you want. Yay, Papa! Eri cheered. During the wait, Kaminari had spiked the punch, so when Izuku came back 30 minutes later, everyone had been drinking it, and the girls, by sheer luck, were all lightweights and already tipsy. Is that your doing? Kyoka asked Truth, who shook his head. Of course not. If I had done it, you all would have had a terrible alcohol limit. But you can hold your drinks just fine, can you not? Truth said. In all honesty, it was sort of his doing, as he had told the god of that universe to do it for a laugh, which it certainly was. Aizu, catch! Nijire said as she jumped onto Izuku, her legs around his waist. Nijire, please watch out. You could have hurt yourself. No, because you were there, Nijire replied, resting her head on his shoulder. But she was pulled off by Yuyu. Nijire, that was not part of the plan. Stick to the plan. Yuyu said loudly in front of Izuku. What plan? Nijire exclaimed, confused. Izuku was just bewildered, but after a while, he felt a bit thirsty and went to the punch. Thankfully, he could handle his alcohol much better than the girls. For the next hour, the girls tried different approaches that failed due to their own drunkenness. But then at 11:30, Namiri had enough. She grabbed Izuku and pulled him toward the girls, who were in a corner. What are you doing? Making this easy, she said, almost throwing him toward the girls. So, Izuku, we are all in love with you and want to be in a relationship with you. We are okay if you want to date all of us. What is your answer? Really? He asked, surprised. The girls all nodded in confirmation. Sure, it would be my pleasure to date you all. Finally. Bakugo shouted as the guys started taking out their wallets to pay Bakugo, Aizawa, and present Mike. How did you know that would happen? Pixie Bob asked. I've known the nerd since we could walk, and you are as obvious as could be, Bakugo replied. Now we can finally be together. Rumi said, pulling Izuku away with the girls blushing but following. Bunny is in heat, Ryuko joked, making Rumi blush. Well. What did you think of that? I wasn't the biggest fan of the beginning since that story was scary, but you made up for it with the Halloween party, Melissa said, with most of everyone agreeing. Next time you make a horror thing, do not use me for it, or I will float you to space, Achiko warned, raising her hands defensively. Well, sorry. I will try to find something to make it up to you, okay? Truth replied, and Achiko nodded as he began searching for a new thing to watch. Izuku, infused with the powers of Luffy's devil fruit, embarks on an extraordinary journey. As he navigates this new reality, he discovers the incredible abilities that come with it. In another scenario, Izuku takes on the persona of Yujiro or Baki Hanma, showcasing his strength and determination. His character evolves as he learns to harness these formidable powers, pushing his limits and facing challenges head-on. In a different twist, Izuku embodies the might of Omni-Man and Superman, blending their extraordinary abilities into his own unique skill set. This transformation allows him to confront adversaries with newfound confidence and resilience. As the story unfolds, Izuku's experiences shape him into a formidable hero, ready to face any obstacle in his path. Each chapter reveals new layers of his character, highlighting his growth and the bonds he forms along the way. How about we watch part 2 of Only Male? Some of the voices in my head are rather curious, one character suggested. What do you mean? Another replied, surprised. Well, when we watched the first part, the voices wanted more excitement, and since you all seem interested too, I thought it would be a good idea. Who says we're interested? Kendo asked, blushing slightly. My name means I know when you're lying, I am the truth, Truth responded, causing Kendo to blush even more. Oh, wait, don't tell me we will watch Midoriya and our female selves, Kaminari said, to which Truth laughed. Oh, you will. Some of you will look fantastic in that universe, so it will be enjoyable for me. With a snap of his fingers, everyone was spaced out, close enough to tease each other but far enough to avoid embarrassment. Also, NDTY for the guys is turned off since it's not your body, and Eri and Koda will be looked after by someone else to keep things comfortable. Don't worry, Izuku, this person is the god of safety, so they will be safe no matter what happens. Now, let's start. With another snap, the screen began to play. The scene opened with Izuku lying in bed, eyes closed, still asleep. As he slowly woke up, he noticed something moving under the sheets. After a moment of realization, he smirked and lifted the blanket, surprised yet amused to find himself in an unexpected situation. Laughter erupted from the group watching, finding the scene amusing despite knowing what it implied. Good morning, Toru, Izuku said, assuming she was greeting him back, though she was unable to respond. He relaxed back, enjoying the moment. A collective gasp was heard as the scene unfolded, and Toru turned bright red, embarrassed by her actions, while Izuku remained calm, suggesting this was not the first time for them. After a few moments, Izuku expressed, I'm close, trying to hold back. Toru pushed forward, and with a gentle nudge, Izuku understood her intentions. He guided her, and the scene concluded with a humorous twist as Toru playfully thanked him and left for downstairs. Izuku got up, noticing that Toru had tidied up. He dressed in shorts and stretched before heading to the door, where he found Kaminari watching him, slightly embarrassed. With a smirk, he walked past her, teasingly saying, "Bad girls don't get a reward," before laughing at her reaction. How thirsty can you get? Bakugo laughed as Kaminari tried to hide her embarrassment. As Izuku made his way to the common room, he greeted everyone, sharing kisses and playful banter. He approached the kitchen where Bakugo was cooking and playfully smacked her on the back, causing her to react with surprise before blushing. "Sorry for yelling," she said, her demeanor shifting as she saw Izuku's face. "It's okay, I was just teasing," he replied, sharing a soft kiss before moving on to prepare his breakfast. Mitsuki laughed heartily, finding the situation hilarious and planning to use it as teasing material for years to come. After making his oatmeal and coffee, Izuku noticed Kirishima, Shiro, and Aoyama entering, looking worn out. "Guess you couldn't handle it, huh?" he joked, as they groaned in response. Just then, Ochako skipped in, having won a challenge against the trio. Despite their attempts to hide, the laughter continued, and they found the situation amusing, relieved it wasn't them in the spotlight. "Hey, Deku, sleep well?" Ochako asked. "I slept great, did I do a good job tucking you in?" he replied. "Yep, you're learning," she said, noting how none could match Izuku's endurance. "Oh, Izuku, don't forget to visit your mom today, she needs help moving the TV," Tenten reminded him. "Thanks for the reminder," he said, kissing her. "I'm going to take a shower and then head out." "I'll join," Kaminari said, along with Kami and Mina, and Izuku shrugged, knowing what that meant. Everyone felt a bit uncomfortable, glancing at the ground. Most were looking at someone with impatience, eager to recreate the scenes they had just witnessed. Truth sat back, waiting for them to be ready, but it was taking a while, so he decided to watch something else. Nana spoke up, feeling a bit left out. She mentioned that everyone else had their turn except for her. Izuku responded, saying he felt sorry but it wasn't his choice. Mina chimed in with a smirk, suggesting they knew a way to make up for it, which made some of the girls giggle. Truth interrupted, saying they should take a break from the teasing. With a snap, the embarrassment faded, and new underwear appeared. He then asked if they could start watching again or if there was a problem. Someone requested to bring back their kids, and with another snap, Eri and Kota returned, both out of breath but smiling as they settled in front of the screen. Truth announced that they were about to watch part 2 of the Titan Izuku, where he saved some of them, and where Inko was a hero with a harem of All Might, AFO, and Aizawa. The screen flickered to life, showing Izuku alone in Class 1A. He had arrived early at UA, brought by his fathers, and was waiting for class to start. This gave him time to draw in his notebook. He had just finished a drawing of Lady and was now working on one of Midnight, or Namuri Kayama. Midnight commented on his skills, teasing that she would give him special art classes when they returned, leaning in close to whisper the last part, which made Izuku swallow nervously. You glared at Namuri, who smirked back. Izuku had drawn her many times, always enjoying it. He had never met her, despite his father Irisarhead being best friends with her from his time at UA, and since his father hadn't mentioned he was dating someone, meeting her was tricky. However, since Midnight was a teacher, it was possible. Someone questioned why no one knew that Izuku's mother was dating 3 people. They clarified that they knew, but Izuku was unaware that they knew. Aizawa had informed them just before the entrance exam. They discussed why Izuku hadn't taken the recommended exam, noting that 3 of his 4 parents were well-known pro-heroes. They concluded that he simply felt the normal exam would be a more relaxed option. Unbeknownst to Izuku, the teachers were watching him on a hidden camera from the teacher's lounge. Nizu remarked on how interesting he was, while Aizawa defended Izuku's readiness to become a hero, stating that this was just a formality. He had the strength and intelligence to succeed. The teachers noticed a significant change in Aizawa. Instead of his usual messy appearance, he looked clean-shaven with his hair neatly tied back. He wore a fitted shirt and nice combat pants, and his posture was straight. The man before them was a far cry from the tired figure they were used to seeing. Aizawa had transformed from an unknown underground hero to a well-respected figure, now ranked number 14, just below Inko. Inko's care for Aizawa was evident, she ensured he took care of himself, often treating him like a younger, irresponsible version of Izuku. The group shared a laugh at Aizawa's expense, who simply groaned in response. He might have been able to achieve a very high score against those robots, but they were just robots, and there was a reason they were used in the entrance exam. Yes, he is still a kid, present Mike, but believe me, he is very strong. If you wish, you could take him on in a sparring match, but it's not something I would do, All Might said. Much like Aizawa, All Might looked very different. Instead of his buff version, he appeared as his skinny self, someone who could be blown away by a strong wind. However, he was a healthy and fit-looking man, with a build similar to Endeavor. Thanks to Inko, the fight that could have destroyed Toshi's lung and other organs never happened. So when he charges up One for All, he gets super buff again, right? Setsuna asked. That is right, All Might confirmed. Wait, does that mean Izuku will also get really buff? She continued. No, I really don't know why All Might gets that buff, but Izuku shines bright, much like when he went 100% with Eri on his back. Truth remarked, and some of the girls sighed contentedly. They admired Izuku and his current muscles, but they didn't want an All Might walking around all the time, as that would be a little strange. I'm not going to fight a kid. I don't want to get on her bad side, first off. She scares me, present Mike whispered the last part, only for Inko Midoriya, wearing a green outfit resembling Izuku's hero costume, to hear. Are you enjoying looking at my son? She asked. Oh wow, that looks awesome. But why is present Mike scared of her? I mean, she doesn't look scary, one of the girls said. Because while Inko is like a gift from the gods in her sweetness, her quirk is incredibly powerful. She could take out anyone in an instant, Truth explained. AFO, Izuku, and All Might weren't as frightened by that power, their fear lay in Inko's bear hugs and her slipper. Oh very much so, he has turned into a fine young man, Namuri said with a playful smile. Midnight, if you want to, you should ask him out. He has one of the biggest crushes on you. But you should hurry if that's the case, Rumi and Ryuko are also interested, Inko added, enjoying the idea of setting her son up. Honey, don't do, All Might started, but Inko interrupted, you could always share it with them. Emi fell off the couch laughing. Her mother was trying to set up a harem for Izuku, which was both funny and entertaining to think about. While Izuku was focused on becoming a hero, his mother was working behind the scenes to create a massive harem for him, just so she could have more grandbabies to spoil. Izuku felt a shiver go down his spine. He paused his drawing, looking around, unsure of what had given him that feeling. Just then, the door opened, and in walked a boy with red and white hair, a boy with dark blue hair and glasses, and a woman with a black spiked ponytail, Shoto Todoroki, Tenya Ida, and Momo Yaoyorozu. They were a little shocked to see Izuku, but one had a different reason. For Shoto, he recognized Izuku from when he had been saved. It's you, he said. Hope you have been well since then. Izuku replied, we have. I still want to thank you for that. I know my mother and sister would want to do the same. Sorry, but do you know each other? One of the girls asked. Sort of. About a year and a half ago, I was on a trip with my mother and sister when we were hit by another car. We couldn't get out, but he showed up and pulled off the car door, allowing us to escape to safety, Shoto explained. Now that I think about it, either Izuku is a magnet for trouble or he just has the weirdest luck in the world to be in the right place at the right time to help, Toru joked. Truth looked away, whistling innocently, but it was clear he was doing the opposite. The name is Izuku Midoriya, a pleasure to meet you, Izuku said as Ida approached him. While I applaud you for saving people, the usage of quirks in public areas is not allowed and should not be used. I know, but I'm not going to let people get hurt. Any hero that would do that shouldn't call themselves a hero, Izuku replied, returning to his seat. A true hero, one of the girls said. I don't know any real hero who would arrest someone for saving a life, even if they used their quirks. They usually just give a little speech about quirk usage and let them go, unless there was real damage. Excuse me, but are you perhaps Inko Midoriya, the pro-hero magnetic son? Momo asked. Yep, that's me. Which means yes, I do know All Might, and yes, he is my father, at least one of them, Izuku said, which confused the trio, but they accepted it and sat down themselves. Oh, I wonder how people will take that. I mean, it's very strange unless to those who hear about it for the first time. Hi, my name is Midoriya, and my mother has a harem. That would be very interesting to introduce yourself, Mitsuki said with a laugh. Around 10 minutes later, the class began to fill. A spiky red-haired boy and a pink-skinned girl entered, and Izuku was recognized once again. It's you, they both exclaimed, prompting Izuku to chuckle and greet them. A boy with a black lightning bolt in his hair asked, "You know him?" "Yeah, a while ago, some of my friends and I were walking around when a massive guy approached us and seemed really intimidating. But then he showed up and scared the guy away. Before we could thank him, he disappeared," Todoroki explained, his voice low enough that only Izuku could hear, making him chuckle. Shortly after, a girl with frog-like features entered and had a similar reaction. She recounted how she had gone to protect her little brother from a car. Just as she braced for impact, she heard a crash, but nothing happened. When she looked back, she saw Izuku already helping the driver out of the car, and before she could say anything, he walked off. Then, a brown-haired girl with pink cheeks entered. "It's you," she said, prompting Mina to ask, "Let me guess, he saved you and then walked off?" The girl confirmed, "Yes, but how did you know?" Mina replied, "It seems our classmate has a history of doing that." This made Izuku laugh. Before anyone could continue, two people entered the room, Aizawa and Inko Midoriya. Now the question is, did Izuku just save them, or did he save a bunch more that we don't know about? Aizawa remarked. "Oh, a couple more," he added. "He's basically ready to be a pro-hero, this is just a formality for them. Hello everyone, I am Inko Midoriya. This here is Shota Aizawa. We are both your homeroom teachers. Nice to meet you all," she said with a beautiful smile and cheerful aura. "Now, before we do anything, I would like you all to introduce yourselves. My name is Inko Midoriya. My hobbies include teaching, reading, cooking, and spending time with my son and my husbands. My quirk allows me to take control over things, the smaller the object, the stronger the grip." Kaminari raised an eyebrow and asked, "So we are all just going to ignore the fact she mentioned husbands and nobody says anything about it?" People nodded in agreement. "I mean, we can't really do anything about it, but that is a little unusual," he added. Everyone began introducing themselves, with Izuku going last. When he mentioned his last name, he was met with questions about whether they were related. Aizawa then instructed them to change into their PE outfits and follow him outside, where he proceeded to jump out the window. Izuku, of course, followed him, but Inko told the rest to follow her, remarking that those two were just a bit wild. "Now I understand why I have to act like a mother of sorts. Please tell me he doesn't do that often," Inko said. "Oh, jumping out of windows? What do you consider often?" "He does it about once a day," Aizawa replied. "Oh, only once? That isn't bad," Inko said. "Yeah, once a day. Walking around is not logical," Izuku added, with Aizawa nodding in agreement. During the PE test, Izuku scored very high. He didn't have to use most of his quirks, as the test only required 30% of one for all, which easily secured him the top score in almost everything. He didn't get the top score in the ball throw, as infinity was a tough score to beat, but even during the seated toe touches, he impressed everyone by bending himself in half without any difficulty.